All right, all right, all right. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, Hank. It's a little bit of CP time. It's a little bit of CP time. But thank you guys so much for being here. Welcome back to the Real Precious. Monday night, new week, new day. There was an eclipse today. Did you guys watch it? Did you guys look?
I did, but it was lame where I'm located at.
You said lame?
Yeah, like it didn't change like from day to night like how I did in other places, but I had the glasses, so I was able to see it through the glasses. That was still cool, but I would have liked to have seen the light kind of disappear as well.
Oh, you wanted to see the light?
Yeah, Rochester, New York was pretty dark.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw that. Rochester, Buffalo. It got really dark. It got. You could definitely tell the contrast here. You could definitely tell the contrast here in Jersey. So, but I didn't have no glasses, so I wasn't looking at it. Yeah, the earthquake. Yeah, the earthquake. How are y'all? Y'all survived the earthquake.
That's right.
Thank the Lord. What were you doing?
I think I was just getting out of bed.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? It was like at 1 in the afternoon.
It was no, I think the first one was 10:30.
Was it? Was it that early?
Yeah, it was early.
Wow.
That was the one.
Working. So
a big truck just went by the house. I said, "Well, these trucks don't really make our house shake, you know." And I said, "Holy shit, the house is shaking."
Yeah,
3 or 4
I had
seconds.
a joke, but it's early because our pay was like the moment he got out of bed. That's when the earthquake happened.
Oh yeah, okay, thank you, thank you.
Oh my goodness! All right, King, what were you doing?
It was in Maryland. I didn't even realize that an earthquake had happened until I think that I got a text from my lady saying something about it. So
yeah, so you didn't even know. You were oblivious.
Nope, oblivious.
Okay. But yeah, I was working and was like, is that a big truck going by? So I went outside, looked left to right, and I'm like, well, maybe it went by fast. Then I didn't realize how loud it was. Because again, I thought it was a truck, but then when I realized it wasn't a truck, I still didn't think about like, wow, where did that noise come from? So the earth is speaking to us. The earth is speaking to us. Well, guys, thank you. And again, welcome to the Real Precious. Definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you are notified when we go live. A lot of people say that they don't know that I have a channel. I just saw that comment under one of the videos like, oh, I didn't know the Real Precious had a channel. Well, you got to subscribe and you got to hit the bell. So whenever I post something or whenever we go live, you will know about it. Tonight's show is sponsored by jecreativehosting.com. So if you guys need a website, you need someone to host your website, definitely go over to them. There is a code of HCM22 for a discount on the website. So definitely go over to them to really get your website off the ground and someone to host it. They edit it, whatever you need, so you don't have to keep going in and out. I remember back in the day, I had to make a website, I think, for a project in school. And I'm like, this is a lot. this code, that code, edit this, go back. It was a lot. So yeah. All right, guys, we're going to get into the first topic. I do appreciate those who are in the chat. The beautiful Dorian says, hello, basement dwellers. Thank you for showing support for my number one. And if y'all don't know who the number one is, okay, it's Mr. Hank. Mr. Hank, okay, the one who tells it like it is and going to keep them heifers in the restaurant because they don't deserve anything else, okay? Y'all know who he is, all right? Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here, Dorian. I appreciate your support. Christopher Sterling says, good evening, all. Good evening to you, Christopher Sterling. I'm not sure if you've been here before, but thank you. I appreciate you for being here. Mary Smith is also in the building and says, hello. Hola. All right, so we're going to get into this first video. This video, I must say, I have a little bit of a guilty pleasure with this show, and I just was introduced to it. I believe it was on Instagram first, and I saw the post, but I didn't. I'm like, oh, this is a little bit annoying. The sounds, like, it was just a little bit annoying. But then when I looked into the video and really paid attention to what was going on, it intrigued me. Because it's a video of real life people put in a real life situation and they have to answer on the spot. They have to be quick. They have to be honest. And after going through a lot of these videos, I picked this one and I clipped this part because I studied a lot of these videos, and this particular gentleman, I believe, is the troublemaker of the bunch. I watched him with all of the girls, and I believe that well, let me just put the video up. You guys will see for yourself.
And Joseph, what do you do?
I'm an Uber and Lyft driver full time.
Okay, all right. And why did you end up popping your balloon?
I don't know, it's the knee, the right knee. It got something going on. I don't know what it is. I got eczema. And I use coconut oil. Yeah, zoom in on that.
Please.
And I just don't know why it's like that. So I seen it and I was like, she not gonna take my coconut oil regimen seriously. Okay. Everything else looked moisturized, you know, but I seen that and that was kind of a red flag.
Okay.
That's it. That's the only thing.
Just the knee.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing. So, go ahead, Arpain. Go ahead.
No, that brother has smoke for all the girls.
All of them.
All of them. You know, so, but that whole thing, I think she said she fell and scraped her knee or something like that later on. But I didn't use that one, but I don't know. But these guys are strange.
They are, and I'm actually going to do some reactions to these because I like these. I like them because it's real time, real people, and you can really tell a lot about people by their body language, by their tone, their inflections, the avoidance. And I really like the interaction because she has panel of men, and then she has, a host of women.
She was nervous though. She had a lot of nervous laughter all the way through.
She did. She was very giddy. She is young. I believe she's 24 or 25. She made it known that she didn't want any children. But when it came to this guy in this particular scene, or this particular part in the show, I should say, it's not a scene, they're not acting, but he is a hell of an actor because for every woman that was there, he had something to say. But I also think that says a lot about him, but we'll get there. Yeah, so she was, she's young. And for one thing I noticed is that she didn't want any children. She's like, hey, look, I'm still young. I want to live life. She just seemed very lighthearted. Right. So for him to say that something is going on with her right knee and he has eczema and has an oil regimen,
use my coconut oil.
Exactly. It's very juvenile, right? So it's clear that he comes on there for the views, because when they're on the show, the guys who are the hosts, the men who are getting a date with the woman or checking her out, whatever, they show their Instagram names. So they get some type of notoriety. And I also think they have some type of camaraderie with these people that are also on the show. I didn't see anyone really get rude or disrespectful. One girl was she spoke her mind, and she was a little bit much, but she was the only one that really went back at the guys. So that tells me that although they may not pick them in that time and moment, there may be a time where they might double back. Because there's one reaction I can't wait to do. Because the one girl, I just couldn't believe she said what she said. But I wanted to ask you guys, as far as this show, and as far as the man, he said his name was Joseph, then he said his name was Joe, then he said his name was Jay. Y'all didn't see this in this clip, but like I said, I watched a lot of them. I fell asleep one night with the phone in my hand because I was like, what is going on in this show? And so he played games. He picked out the thing that was so minuscule that what coconut oil, whatever could heal the scrape on her leg. Most of us got scars and scrapes. Okay, we played outside. Okay, if mama told you to go outside to play. So, are there truly men like this in the world? Is it a maturity thing? Are men picky like this? Because they always say women are picky. Women will pick the smallest thing and be like, okay, I don't want to deal with you. But to see that, I'm like, are there truly men like this?
Yes, there are definitely men like this. What I see as well when I look out into how people are in the dating market is men that don't have solid people ensuring that they're making solid decisions. Like I almost hate to say this, but I can say with about an 80% accuracy from listening and talking to a male or female, if they had a positive, significant male role model around them, right? Now, it's a bit of that, and it's also a bit of how's the market treating you, right? If you take a look at this guy, he wasn't an ugly dude, hashtag no Diddy. So it's not like he's not gonna have women interested in him because of how he looks. He also seems like a really funny guy, but he's gonna use that in the marketplace to find reasons to discard solid people from him because he can. All right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And just to wrap it up, it's frustrating because on the flip side of it, y'all ladies are having to deal with men that are going to act like him. And it's just this whole chicken and the egg thing on how do we fix it? Is it the men that need to not act like this so that, the ladies can come to the marketplace correct? Or do we have the ladies demand that more men act more mature than what that guy displayed so that they're not out here discarding people for scraped knees?
Thank you. I appreciated that because as you were talking, I'm thinking, what kind of woman would this man attract? Because none of the women picked him, obviously so. But what kind of woman would he attract? You talked about this being his personality out in the dating world. So who is he attracting?
But did he pop the balloon for all the women in that particular show? I think he popped all the balloons.
It's almost like he waited for a reason. He would watch her go. The first guy popped his balloon for everybody. I mean, his was instantaneously every single time. But I think he waited for like the first 2, maybe 3 guys to go. That he would skip the one guy next to him, and then he would just pop. So it wasn't instantaneously. It was like he was finding things for wrong with the women. But again, who would he attract? Because I mean,
I think you mean I think the ladies were attracted to him until he started speaking. He's in shape, and so I think that once he started speaking, told the other chick, one of the chicks, that if you were 5'4", you'd be perfect. And so he found something with her. So he found something with this lady. Then he found something with the traveling nurse.
Yeah, that was interesting. Traveling nurse. A lot of men popped their balloons on the traveling nurse.
Just because of her occupation?
Just because of her occupation. Yeah, that's what I said. I'm gonna do some reaction videos to it, because again, it's real time. And I agree with Blaze. That brother on the show seemed like he wasn't taking it seriously, probably just went for the experience and maybe a little networking, in which I do agree, but I also believe that that's part of his personality. He said to one girl, the girl that actually called a lot of the guys out, and wanted them to explain their responses and things like that. He said to her, I can't be with you because you're just like me. You're too friendly. So he actually revealed a lot about himself. If you really, like I said, I was watching it. And I watched it to analyze a lot of their behaviors when it came to the different women. There was one guy who popped his balloon because he said that he didn't think that he was the woman's type. And I think that a lot of women hear that from men. And to me, that is very sad, because as a man, you shouldn't feel like you're not a woman's type. If you feel that way, there's something there that's not making you feel like the man. And I believe that is a problem, because then you may approach other things like that, and that's not necessarily a masculine trait. Masculinity is going after what you want and not letting anything get in your way.
I'm sorry. Go
ahead.
One of the things I said when I did the reaction is I would never pop my balloon. The woman has to eliminate me.
Yeah.
You got to eliminate me. You got to be really bad for me not to just pop my balloon. I have to have something you have to show me something real early on. But other than that, I am not popping my balloon. I don't care who you are. Come to me and tell me, hey, you don't qualify.
Come and talk to me. I really wanna you, girl. Y'all know the song. I know that's right. There were a couple of guys that were like that. A few of them, but a lot of them, you remind me of my ex. I really want to do some reaction videos, because I think it's interesting, because it's real. Like, these are real people, and although some of them, may be trying to put on for cameras, there were some of them that were genuine. There were some of them that had, conversations with the woman that was like, okay. There were some of them that were fighting for a woman per se, not physically, but it was almost like you said, Arpain, like, you're going to have to eliminate me. Some of them came to their senses and said, I popped my balloon too soon. Give me another balloon. So I thought it was very, very interesting. Hey, Sean, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well.
Good. Did you see the video?
I didn't see it. That's why I haven't been speaking.
Okay, no problem. I'll play it again.
37.
And Joseph, what do you do?
I'm an Uber and Lyft driver full time.
Okay, all right. And why did you end up popping your balloon?
I don't know. It's the right knee. It got something going on. I don't know what it is. I got eczema. And I use coconut oil. Yeah, zoom in on that.
Please.
And I just don't know why it's like that. So I seen it and I was like, she not gonna take my coconut oil regimen seriously. Okay. Everything else looked moisturized, but I seen that. Ooh. And
look at the guy all the way at the end, the first guy. It's funny how he kept on peeking out to look at people like, are you serious? Are you really serious right now?
That was kind of a red flag.
Okay.
That's it. That's
I
it.
like her
That's the only
attitude.
thing.
Just the knee.
That's the only thing. So what you think, Sean?
I love it. He said what he felt and what he thought. She embarrassedly laughed, you know, giggled behind her embarrassment. And, truth is the truth. So I'm not mad at it at all. I actually am glad he spoke about it. Now, is it superficial? Absolutely. But a lot of people are superficial and live comfortably in.
Is that a valid reason to say that you're not interested in someone is because they have a scraped knee? Because the skin is the largest organ that we have, right? And it heals itself. It does a pretty good job of doing that. Do you think that that's a valid reason to pop your balloon in a pursuit to be able to possibly date a woman?
I don't think there's nothing superficial is valid, but superficial to each his own. And that was a superficial reason, and I can't knock it. Some people don't like bad feet. Some people don't like weaves. Some people don't like different body styles. So that's all superficial. So I don't think there's any validity in superficial because I value character. So that's just my opinion. I value character. They value those things. I don't value those things. So I can't say that I'm right or they're wrong. It's their preference versus mine. But I think their preference is superficial and, to each his own.
Okay. Now, guys, has there ever been a woman you have turned down for a superficial reason? And, I guess superficial would be subjective, but, has there ever been someone where you're like, I don't like the way her ear looks. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I mean, I don't know if you would call this superficial, but I had somebody who told me that they were into me, but physically I wasn't into her because she was approaching 300. Is that superficial? Yeah. She great attitude, decent person. I know she had a decent network, that she had her own place, car, and all of that jazz, but 300 couldn't do it.
Yes, it is, but again, it's understandable. I probably been guilty of it myself as well. You do. I do say you need to be attracted, but I also find that if you're around somebody long enough, you'll find attractions. Like, and I learned this working with people. There, when you work with people, initially it could be a bunch of ugly people, but after you sit there and work with them, especially when you work with a bunch of men and there's only like 2 or 3 women, those 2 or 3 women start looking like, wow, that thing is, I mean, so is that superficial? Absolutely. But does it happen? Absolutely.
I don't know if it's superficial. I don't know. So, first of all, the 300-pound thing it's not superficial. It's a preference, right? I mean, I don't see how any of that's superficial. Because you certainly get judged that way. If somebody look at you, maybe not weight is something else. Might be height, might be this. So, it's what you want. So superficial has to be something really, really like like a scrape on your knee or some shit like that guy. Or to me, I don't know if this is superficial, but I would have picked the fact that I had a previous girlfriend that you remind me of. Men don't talk like that.
But they were on this show.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I've never heard a man say that before until this show.
That I was surprised too, Arpane. I was watching like, what?
I know I never said to a girl, I don't want to be with you because my previous girlfriend was look a little like you and I didn't like her, she did something, I think you're gonna do it. That's all.
You
I have to
remind
say,
me
that's like
of
more
a
females
girl
say that.
that I
Women say that.
once knew.
But I
Yeah.
don't think that's superficial either. I just think that I don't know if that's superficial, and I don't think that fits. But something petty, I don't know. I don't know if maybe it says something about me. I don't turn down nothing. I never turn down anything. Maybe that's my problem. Or
I
people
mean,
probably
no.
There are men in the chat. Go ahead, King.
No, I was gonna say, Arpain, I think that you and I are similar, right? Like, it takes a lot for me to disqualify somebody. Like, I ain't just accepting everybody, right? But at the same time, you got to really be a nasty, ugly person for me to go, yeah, I ain't gonna deal with that. So folks want to call mid bad, but I'm like, yo, a majority of people fall in the mid category. Right? Shit, I'm mid. I ain't for you put me in the room with The Rock, even if The Rock wasn't The Rock. I ain't touching Dwayne Johnson. And I'm fine with that.
Make sure you have that apostrophe there.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it ain't just people like you and me saying that.
You probably got that.
I did. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's not like you and I are accepting everybody. I think you and I have a sensible approach to how we're choosing somebody to be with long term, and it's a sensible approach. It's not looking at you. This person has a scraped knee. Hey, that could be an athlete. Who knows? Like, there's a million reasons why that scraped knee could be there. Now, if you hunch back, that's a whole different ball game. You know what I'm saying? But a scraped knee, no.
Hey,
no Diddy. Hey, yeah, my bad. No Diddy. I should have put in a comma or pause the second. I said what I said.
Is that the new thing? Everybody says no Diddy.
How no Diddy is the new pause, and I thought pause was crazy.
Yeah. No Diddy is another one. Oh my God,
that's hilarious.
Somebody actually got it trademarked.
No Diddy?
Smart.
Yes, he got it trademarked.
That's smart.
I mean, the thing is that I'm using the word superficial, and I might be using it loosely. But the reason why I say that is because I've been guilty of going after the superficialness. Beautiful girl. And she was the worst character that I probably dated. Quite frankly. She was everything that I knew that I would not have messed with had she not looked great or not. I haven't been so attracted to her. And then on the other hand, one of my exes, we weren't even attracted to each other when we first met one another. But when we learned to get to know each other, I started, like I said, finding the beauty that I missed because I was looking for that superficialness. So to answer your first question, yes, there has been superficial moments, and I've turned down others that probably I should have given more attention or time to. But
those women, what was it that you turned down? Because you're saying you were superficial because you I know that's right, King. You better eat that food, okay? Because you say you were superficial because you went with the woman that looked good, but what was the superficial reason why you turned down the woman, and not just her looks? Because I mean, I know attraction is important, but is that the only superficial reason that you've gone away from a woman?
In my experiences, yes. The turn downs was lack of attraction initially. Like, there's certain people I've been in relationships or I've been intimate with that I wouldn't have been if I was still on my superficial nonsense. But I wound up finding other things that gave me a lot more peace, a lot more comfort than being with the more attractive, to my eye, person, because they were more of a headache. They were more work. They were a lot more toxic, a lot more, I mean, there was a lot that I can add on to that. Shallow. There were a lot of these things, and I learned. That's why I'm different now. Why I kind of lean towards finding somebody who I can appreciate, somebody who I can appreciate other than who I'm just attracted to. Yes, there needs to be some attraction there. I get it, but I what I was saying earlier, what I found psychologically, I can find attraction in little moles if enough time is spent.
Oh my God. Don't say that.
I'll be like, yo, I mean, seriously, I literally was like, yo, that mole is cute. And I never noticed it initially, and it became very appealing.
All right. Okay, so superficial for men, what I'm hearing is more geared to the way a woman looks. That's the most super, that when men and superficial go together when it comes to women, is mostly based on a woman's looks, is what you guys are saying. Not necessarily, I mean, the scrape, I guess, made her right knee look bad, I guess.
Yeah.
That aligns with that. But I think that is very superficial.
That's very
it's okay if you're not attracted to the 300-pound woman. That's understandable.
Right.
But a scrape on the knee is not necessarily understandable. It's
Well, women, I had that conversation with my daughter. Years ago, when she thought that men being looking at attraction first was superficial. I said, well, it's not. It's, you could call it superficial, but it's a natural state of being. You might not like it, but that's what it really is. There's a certain level of attraction for a guy who even wants to take the attempt to talk to you because he knows he faces rejection. So there's got to be a reason why he wants to talk. And attraction is the first thing. And then once you start talking, you start adding things to it. That's what dating and courting is for, And so we had that conversation. So men, I don't call it superficial because we like women the way women look. The thing that's really crazy now is women are worse than men on that. Before, a man didn't have to look like a woman for a woman to be attracted to him. They got attracted to men for other reasons. He's a little rugged. He's the leader of a group. Now women talk about how pretty men need to be. A lot of women, just the attraction makes them do a whole bunch of stupid stuff. And they don't even care what's underneath that. If he has some money, forget it. Not all women, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. I was watching a video and it was talking about a woman doing makeup and how when women put their makeup on, it's almost like you are trying to be a man in drag because men are putting on that drag queen makeup, and when you got all these lashes on and things like that, you're actually trying, having that energy of a drag queen. But a lot of women want to hang around with gay men and things of that nature, and that rubs off, that feminine energy rubs off on the man who is pretending or trying to be or whatever. That is just, and then they bring that energy around a straight man. It's just too much. But I appreciate those who are here. I saw Lapeef in the building. Thank you so much for being here. Definitely hit the like button. Q, thank you so much for being in the building. Good evening, good people. Editona, thank you so much for being here. Blaze says that brother on the show. Oh, we read that one. There was another comment that I saw here that I wanted to highlight. I should have highlighted it. Oh, I don't judge every woman by whether or not her looks are good enough to be my girlfriend. So is that more so an attitude that men have later on in life? Because men are usually taught, get all the girls and, get the baddest one. She's the cutest one. Is that an attitude that men necessarily let go of as they get older? Or their options dwindle down, or is that a mindset that a lot of men have going in?
I don't know. Like the people who I hung around and myself, like one like player type dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like growing up where I grew up from came to South, it was like the total package, right? Like how's your attitude and things like that. Broadly, you would see guys put the ladies into two categories: those you have fun with and those that you marry, right? The ones that you had fun with were people who, I don't know if folks still use the term loose, right? But hey man, she loose, you know what I'm saying? That, so if you were somebody that was looking for somebody to have fun times with, that's really all that you cared about. I saw people that were deemed loose that I would put them in a 4 category, but because they were loose, guys would still go have fun with that. But those that you were looking to, have something serious with, that you weren't embarrassed to be around, you still factored in, how she was she masculine? Was she trying to fight you all the time, or could you be okay with being around with her in public and she not embarrass you? That's how I saw people kind of look at folks coming up.
Jesus, you had somebody embarrass you in public? I cannot. Has that ever happened? Has that
Not
ever
to me.
happened?
No, once, and it was to the person I'm no longer married to.
Oh God. All right.
Yeah, and it just it's something that was a lesson learned for me, in that I didn't check it. And I've talked about it on this show. You can't let something like that happen and you don't say or do anything. And I thought I was doing the right thing by not embarrassing her back. But that was a lesson learned, and that shit will not happen again.
And I know that's right. All
I
right.
had to learn.
Well, Sean, you got something on this one? I mean, I had an idea, but
Can you read it? I can't read it.
I don't judge every woman by whether or not her looks are good enough to be my girlfriend.
Yeah, I do have something to say to that. Something Tarika said. If you are looking for a girlfriend, then then you'll find somebody who will play with you. If you're looking for a wife, then you'll find somebody. Wait, I'm saying it wrong because I'm trying to put girlfriend instead of boyfriend. But the actual quote was, if you're looking for a boyfriend, then you'll find a boy to play with you. If you're looking for a husband, then you'll find no, if you're trying to be a wife, then you'll find a husband to find you. Something along those lines. So the point being is that if I'm just playing around, I went through the stage of just trying to get some. Then I went through the stage of trying to fend off those who are trying to give me some. And now I'm at a stage where I'm looking for something more substantial than just hit. I could easily find somebody to hit right now.
So does looks matter as much in this stage you're in?
No, not as much. No, not at all. It used to. And like I said, I learned the hard way that looks actually put me in more pickles than anything. No, the first girl that I messed with that had a man was beautiful.
Yeah.
But when I really look at what I was doing and what we were doing, it was horrible. So
listen, I always try to kick my coverage, always, because it's, I just wanted my kids to have a chance at life, so I have to have a pretty woman, so I always try to outkick my coverage, always.
But I mean, yeah.
Say that. Go ahead.
Well, you had, for example, if you're taking a test and let's say it's a true or false, you have 2 options. You go to a multiple choice, A, B, C, or D, you have 4 options. The more you add, the more options you add in, the more mistakes you're available to make. Yeah. In your case, it was just you and Eve, Adam. So You know that?
Hey, listen. Hey, once I bit to Adam, I realized that Eve had a fat ass. And before
Uh,
that, I didn't know shit. Once I bit the apple, I said, "Oh, damn, Eve, you got a fat ass." You know,
no, but
shit.
seriously, you grow, you mature.
Yeah,
What
that's
we
true.
used to, what we used to be attracted to, and what we used to want, and what we used to value, changes.
No, I
And
agree with
I
that.
don't value looks as much as I did. Now,
I
am I
agree.
saying that it's not important? No. But do I value it? Is it the most important? No. To a
So
lot of
listen,
people,
I
it
got
is.
married in my 20s, so my whole dating life, I was pretty superficial all the way up to the time I got engaged. You know what I'm saying? So that so I could imagine that later on in life, if I was still single, I probably would have kind of just went where my roof was.
Mm.
So I don't know.
Not
So
to
I don't
mention,
disagree with this. I don't disagree with this statement.
Okay.
you have a lot more to secure. I mean, seriously. Remember 5 Heartbeats? Every night I got to prove my love
You know what?
with beautiful women. Every night I got to prove, now you got to, that gets tired. That, you got people always trying, man, that gets tired. Man.
Blade says looks might be the initial attraction, but looks can alter or fade with time. Looks alone won't be enough to sustain something long
Absolutely.
term and substantial. Gotta have real depth. And I agree.
You don't agree with that?
No, I said I agree.
Oh
I
yeah,
agree.
I agree.
Especially about the real depth part.
No,
You gotta, you definitely have to know who you're dealing with.
no.
And some people don't have the depth part. Some people are looking for the depth part. Some people are finding the depth part. Some people are trying to jump in the deep end. And so you have to know who you're dealing with and what levels you're dealing with them on. But we're going to get further into that in the next clip. And then, of course, the last clip is a really good one as well. And that's going to bring us to real love versus romantic contracts.
Okay.
Some dude. Welcome. Some dude. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next video. If you guys want to join, you can join. The link is at the top. No foolery, or you will get cut. You will get because we're trying to have a good conversation. We're trying to have a good conversation here, okay? But I appreciate those who are watching. Thank you. We're gonna get into this second clip here, and it's talking about who compromises more, men or women?
We have to be way more compromising. It's on us to protect the relationship. And sometimes I feel like a lot of the compromising duties fall on us to help our women feel secure.
Oh, that's interesting.
Do you not agree?
I don't. I think our women compromise more just because they have to kind of fit in our bubble. And it's a good thing, though, because it happens when they trust us to lead and trust us to have vision and direction. So there's not too many things and just moving around in your life that you got to move around to fit her life because you're not following her. Naturally, the way the dynamic works is like women are usually going to fit into a man's world that they deem suitable to be a partner.
All right, so who do you guys think compromises more? Sean, we'll go with you first.
Wow, that was interesting because the point he made is valid. I just don't entirely agree with it. I think the biggest compromise or sacrifice is that we will compromise our livelihood. And I don't feel like a lot of women will do that for their men. Only people that I see that they'll do it for is their children, perhaps, or themselves, but I don't see them doing it for their men. Not that all men do it for women, but those who do compromise a lot more because if they're willing to make that sacrifice, any sacrifice at the for the sake of their family and or woman, they will make as well. That's reasonable. Now, I think what happens is that we don't always let a woman get their way under and so they feel like that's a compromise. That's just a standard that we're just not going to tolerate. And so if you don't want to live up to that and you feel like that's something that is out of your comfort zone or is uncomfortable, then I can't do nothing about that. You're not compromising to me in that state. Now, if you are compromising, then your values are in the wrong place as far as I'm concerned, because I'm not going to ask you nothing. I'm not going to ask you to do nothing that I would not do. So you're not really making a compromise to me, because I would do it for you if I asked you to do it. So I think we make the compromise more so than women.
Okay. Arpain?
Yeah, no, you know what, Sean, I agree with you. Yes, men compromise in a relationship. I mean, the guys who put family first, wife and children, we're called upon. Our obligation is a lot deeper than we'll ever ask our women to go. And when the second guy, even though he's not wrong, if a woman agrees to go in your program, then she fully vetted you, she's not compromised. She's going with you because she likes your plan. She wants to live within your bubble. That's not a compromise. That's not a compromise at all. You know, she's saying, listen, I got as far as I can go without a man, but you're the guy to take me to the not the promised land, but further.
To the promised land, to the promised land.
I mean, that's how it is. I mean, if she's
It looked like you was getting triggered there.
No,
Precious looked like you was getting triggered.
No, wait, hold on, wait a minute. Before you say that, let me just go ahead and say what you're going to say, Precious.
I was just going to say that is a compromise according to the definition. No. So,
what's the definition?
If you compromise with someone, you reach an agreement with them in which you both give up something that you originally wanted, right? So
wait. You originally wanted. What provided?
I'm sorry.
What's the compromise? You originally wanted what we're providing, so you ain't giving it up. You ain't.
What's the
compromise is what you didn't originally want. You wanted somebody originally to provide, to be able to guide you and all that. You wanted these things, so you're not giving up something that you wanted.
Okay, so what I was going to say is you're coming together and you're making an agreement together and on things that you previously wanted. So some women don't always want to be married. Some women don't always dream about being married. There are some women that are like, you know what? I want to be married. I do want a companion. I do want to, be with someone, take care of someone, grow old with someone. And so they are giving up their life, their freedom. Because if you're going to be under a man's leadership, then you're going to follow him. And so you
move the goalposts. We're talking about married couples. We have to have an assumption that the woman wants to be married to that particular man. If she didn't want to be married,
you're giving up. You're giving up a life prior. A lot of men don't originally want to be married either.
Yeah, but we're not talking about those people.
There are a lot of men that are okay with keeping their money, not building a family with someone. So the man who does that is giving up that single man bachelor life.
But we're not talking about those people, though. We're talking about people who want to be married.
Right, but even within wanting to be married, when a woman submits to a man and a man submits to a woman, because you're submitting one to another, the man is the leader, but you're submitting one to another. So when you're submitting one to another, there are going to be some things that you want that you're going to compromise on, and vice versa.
But I hear what you're saying.
But what I'm saying is, I agree with the last man. The last man says a woman is going to, be with her husband, and she's going to follow him, and she's going to be on his plan. Then that is a compromise. No.
He said he compromises more than the man. That's what the question is, not whether she. One, I don't agree with him in terms of one. The real answer is, does she compromise more? That was his argument. His argument that she compromises more to be under his plan. That's not true. not for a woman who wants to follow her man. I mean, if you want to replay that, it's not the question is not do you compromise. The question is who compromises more.
Right. So
Well, she doesn't compromise more. She
right,
doesn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is a man is gonna be a man even without a woman. Like
Yeah.
y'all still gonna work. Y'all still gonna provide. Y'all are still going to be able to do what you do, right?
Okay.
And then there are women who do the same thing. They work, they provide all of that, right? Even if they wanted to be wives, they know there are a lot of housewives that do compromise a lot. They're getting taken care of, no doubt. They do have a roof over their head, no doubt. They're even following their men, but they feel as though they are compromising a lot.
Do they compromise more, Sister Precious? Are they compromising more than their men?
Realistically, I don't think that they are. But there are women who feel as though they compromise more because it's like, if I'm going to follow you, then I am going to do things your way. I am going to, actually follow you. But in following you, that means that there might be some things that I would rather do, but within following you, I'm going to submit to you. I think that there needs to be a balance because a lot of people do get that submission thing. They be up here with it thinking that they God and they're not. But that's why I said earlier, you need to know your person. Like you need to know them because you shouldn't feel like you're compromising. To me, you shouldn't feel like you're compromising. But at the same time, there are a lot of women who will be like, oh, well, I'm what do they call them? Single mom wives. I'm telling you, there are a lot of women who feel this way. So I'm just bringing it to the men's panel because there is one perspective and then there's another perspective.
The key thing.
Go ahead, Shaw. Go ahead.
The key word that you keep using is your feelings. We understand what you feel. That don't make it logical. You are, if you're compromising, if you're giving up something you did not want. I mean, something that you wanted. Discipline, being just being carefree. That's not a compromise because you want to be carefree when you want to be carefree. That's not a compromise when you have to now consider something other than yourself. But a lot of women feel that it is. They feel that because they got to have a rule, or because they got to do something that is not what they want, that it's a compromise. That's not a compromise. That's actually could be a direction. That could be a safeguard. That could be something that is helping out our family. That's
but why is are you okay? So does compromise always have to be taken in a negative way?
That's, you need to ask women because y'all feel that way. Y'all feel it's negative. We don't. We like, that's why I said we compromise more so often. We don't feel there's anything. We understand the reason why we're doing these things. We understand that we always can't get our way. We understand that sometimes it might not feel good. Sometimes it might just be necessary despite how it feels. We understand that. A lot of times we run into women who just don't understand that.
I think it's men are men and women are women. Like I said, a man is going to be a man without a damn wife. But a wife is not going to be. A lot of women are not considered, the best women because they're not married yet, or they're not, at a set. Men don't get looked at like that. So
well, let me say this. Let me say this. A man is not a man without a woman. A woman helps balance a man just in the same way a man helps.
I don't agree with that part.
And the point that I'm saying is that we individually, how they say, you're forced all by yourself. I get it, but when we come together, that's when it becomes a bigger force. And we sometimes understand that, and often we still want our personal identities as opposed to collectively being a team. And that's just, whoever's guilty of that is the issue, and I won't put it on agenda with that.
Right. Okay. I do agree with what I agree with what you're saying, right? But are you saying that men don't compromise when they decide to be husbands? Do you say they don't do you think they don't compromise anything at all?
No. The question on the floor is who compromises most, and we both said we compromise more than the women, right?
Who sacrifice?
And you mentioned it yourself that and it's like you said, it's not all negative, right? But we all want, if as a single people, both men and women, we might have a bunch of things we like to do as individuals, right? When a man gets married, he changes his whole dynamic on his life. He gets grounded, and then he might purchase stuff for a family, right? That's why, let me just kind of use this illustration. A lot of men, regular middle class men, just don't go out and buy houses. But because we don't look at that as some kind of glory road. Women do. Because when we buy our houses, we want to fill it with a family. Women will buy a house and be in one room and ain't nobody in no other rooms. Right. And I'm gonna say, why the hell you got a house for? So because it is a liability if you're not making money on it, you paying into it. So that's one of the things. So when a woman gets married, she has to choose that man is on a path that she wants to be on, and if she wants to be on, the choice, the choice is not a compromise; it's a choice. And if it's too much friction that she has to give up who she is to be with that man, she shouldn't say yes.
She shouldn't say yes. Yeah, I agree. And let's not forget that we're talking about sacrifice, because I know that we've said sacrifice and compromise, but it's about sacrificing more. And a bit to our Payne's point, it's my opinion that whoever is the leader in the relationship, they're the one that's doing a lot more sacrificing. I always make the joke, but it's how I feel. It is what my mantra is. My train's going this way. Get on the train or hop off, right? And if there's any change in direction on where this train is going, the sacrificing is going to come from me. If you're not okay with that, you don't have to be on this train. I think that men in relationships sacrifice more than women.
So if the train's already going, now I'm just listening to what you're saying. And welcome, Hank. I do apologize. I feel like I waited forever to say that. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here, Kasim. Some dude, I see you in the back, but I have to see you first. So turn your camera on, please, so I know that you're a real person. All right. So the train is going, right? You're the train. Whether she's there or not, the train gonna keep going. Right? That's that's logical. Right? So if a woman is there, what exactly would you be sacrificing as the train is continuing to go anyway? Are you worried about a train wreck? Are you worried about something happening to the train now that you added someone?
Well, there's a lot of factors that you still have to consider in a relationship. Like, I'm not saying that in my relationship it's so one-sided that every decision that gets made is going to be by me. No, there is a level of communication that has to occur so that you're trying to understand the family dynamics, and if that other person is going to be happy and okay with that decision. A lot of that stuff is still important. But decisions on accepting a job overseas versus staying where you're at, having to have a commute that's an hour and a half, that makes a little bit more money versus not taking that commute and staying where you're at, because that's going to have you be 3 hours away from home as you're traveling to and from work both ways, just to making the burden of the decision, right, falls on the person that is considered like the leader. That's how I look at it.
Okay, just one more before these gentlemen come on. Let's just hit the brass tack. I believe the only thing a woman can't do in a man's program that she wants to be with is stroke other dudes. Everything else, she can get education, she can build a business, she could do everything she wants to do, follow her dream, as long as it's on a plan. The only thing a woman can't do when she's with the man that she chose is stroke other dudes. And if she calls that a sacrifice, she shouldn't get married. That's it. A man don't have no other kind of, I mean, I'm talking about a regular man who has his head on straight. He's not putting his woman in a box. She could be really a go-getter within the marriage. Mm-hmm. And the only thing she can't do in a closed marriage is stroke other dudes. That's it.
And I totally agree with that. I mean, that should be a known, a given, right?
And that's why I said, where's the compromise? Where's the sacrifice?
No, but what I'm saying is there are a lot of real life people where this sounds like great, but then you put these real life, that's why I love that Pop the Balloon show. Then you put these people in real life situations and they don't know how to get to know one another to say, maybe she's like, okay, I don't even know how to tell him I have a dream or I want to do this or I want to do that. And it's not to say that she shouldn't be with him, but it's to say that people need to learn how to communicate these things because, you would want a woman to follow a man who has a plan and has his head on straight and all that good stuff that we say. But when it comes down to the real life situations, you have women who feel as though they have compromised a lot. And I believe it's because they just don't know how to communicate what they need, what they want, what their needs are. And it's not necessarily the man's fault, but their ego is going to continue to be stroked if the woman doesn't speak up or if she's not learning how to communicate these things. So online you see all the time of these women who are not happy, and it's like, how are y'all not happy? And you have a man providing for you, you have a roof over your head, you have a family, y'all all are in one house, but you miserable. How is that the case? And the only thing that I can think of is that people are not communicating their needs, their wants, and what they desire in their relationship. It's kind of robotic. Are we married? We want to do this thing in and out, day in and day out, and not really have no personality or life or realness to it. Hank, I wanted you to. You haven't spoken since you've been here, and then we'll get to Kasim. Okay.
Yeah, Kasim doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about him. But
don't do that, Hank.
No, how y'all doing today? Hope y'all
here.
I'm just bullshitting. I'm just bullshitting. It's all in good fun. So I didn't get to see the clip y'all are speaking on, but I can
play it again. I can play it again because you guys came a little later.
Okay, that'll work. Thank you, man.
Yeah, that's what they're playing again.
I feel like we have to be way more compromising. It's on us to protect the relationship. And sometimes I feel like a lot of the compromising duties fall on us to help our women feel secure.
Oh, that's interesting.
Do you not agree?
I don't. I think our women compromise more just because they have to kind of fit in our bubble. And it's a good thing, though, because it happens when they trust us to lead and trust us to have vision and direction. So there's not too many things and just moving around in your life that you got to move around to fit her life because you're not following her. Naturally, the way the dynamic works is like women are usually going to fit into a man's world that they deem suitable to be a partner.
There go that partner word. Really?
All right. So Hank, what do you think about that? Who do you think compromises more, men or women?
Yeah, men, I believe for sure compromise more. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you got to sacrifice, and it depends on the type of person you are. So me, I'm a person who, I like my peace. I like my quiet. I don't mind being alone in a secluded place by myself for a period of time. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, now of course after a while it does get lonely, but those are things that you have to deal with when you live alone by yourself. But you learn to cope. You learn to cope, but then all of a sudden you have to make them changes. All of a sudden you make changes as far as sacrifice certain things that you have to deal with. Like you go from living by yourself to all of a sudden you sharing a space with a woman who may have a lot of different items that she brings to your bathroom, for an example.
She's a woman.
All of a sudden my sink was free and clear. Up there is a toothbrush. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all men got to live with a folding chair in a 30-inch. Like, come on.
That's the simplest right there. Thank you, Hank, for bringing that up. That's a simple thing that y'all overlook. That's compromise. All.
I thought I had the mic, but I guess not. Okay, go ahead, Sean.
Go ahead, Hank. No, go ahead, Hank. Go ahead, Hank.
I didn't want to interrupt Sean's monologue. So
I'm glad you couldn't blame that one on me.
I got you. Certain things you got to sacrifice that a man's normally not used to. Like you said, a fuller bathroom than normal. Also, you go into your shower. Your shower has a whole lot more products in there than you normally do. You get your body wash, your face wash, and maybe some shampoo, and of course I keep some beard wash and conditioner in there. But that's usually all, maybe about 4 different things. All of a sudden it goes to 4 to 20. You're like, God damn, what happened to my shower? It's a staging area too, I see, as long as my sink, and now my towels are looking a little different. They used to be the traditional colored towels. Now my towels has a lot more color to them than I'm used to. I went from the grays, the blues, the blacks, and maybe the forest green. Now I'm purpling it up. I'm hot pink, maybe canary yellow. Where the fuck did these colors come from? I'm not used to that.
When you get a woman, it's multiplication. It's by God's design. You can't blame us. You got to blame God.
I know that's right, but I give them. I give y'all one thing. All of a sudden, my refrigerator looks a little full. There is more food in my refrigerator, so. I guess you got to take your bag. So it's just Sean, you got and King and Brother Payne and Brother Kassam. Damn, I said Kassam. I'm sorry, brother. Those things are some of the things you gotta kind of balance. So if you bring more food, wait till a man's heart is to his belly. I accept some of those sacrifices I'm willing to make. So I'm gonna land there. I'm gonna let Cassine have
it. You know what? Basically, first of all, hey, what's up, you guys in the panel? Real precious. I think this is the first time I've been on your panel.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come on. But I would have to agree that men compromise more, and I believe that the essence of that is because men, we want peace and we want calm and cooperation. And we figure that we're able to do that more, right, versus the woman. So men will compromise on a lot of things in order for her, right, to be as calm and as peaceful as possible so that we can end up getting the result, which is like the sex, right? And I believe women know that they hold the key to the relationship, right? By having that sex, and she knows that there's power in that. And the man, more times than not, will yield to that power that she has in order for the dynamic to be, or the environment to be more favorable for him to eventually have sex.
So y'all want the woman to, I'm just listening and I'm just hearing what I'm saying. So you want peace, which is understandable. So, women do have to acquiesce to that. That goes in how you pick and who you pick, which means that I would imagine, have a very laid back woman. Not saying that she doesn't have personality, but it's a very laid back, peaceful one. But then you say, women hold the key to relationships and it's through sex. And it's like, do you want to keep the peace because of sex, or do you want to keep the peace because? All right, Sean.
No,
Or do you want to keep the peace because you want a peaceful relationship?
right. It's a two-way street, right? The more peaceful she is, the more femininity that she gives off, and the more that we can absorb and we can benefit from that, right? And from us getting that benefit from that femininity as part of that, the sex comes with it, right? So it's a double-edged sword. First, we get that femininity that we need and that we draw on, and as a reward, the byproduct of that is the sex.
See, Kasim usually has good takes. This is not one of them. Okay. All right. This is not one of them. It's not completely wrong, but the negotiation that my wife is going to give me sex is when she said "I do" at the altar. Right. That's when that negotiation was over. Now, here where he's right. I always say this. You always have to be attentive to your woman's emotional currency, because I burn credits. So here's where we are intact. Whether I always make sure I replenish the currency so I can know when I can put her in the mood. But the fact that whether the currency is that there or not, she's still obligated at some point to give me sex. If not exactly all the time when I want it, but if she's gonna say, "Listen, you didn't put nothing in the bank account today, so you ain't getting none." No. That's not part of the calculus, okay? Unless you're really sick, unless you can't do it, I'll know that if something's going on with you and you're not in the mood, well, we can do something around that. But sex can never be used in your marriage as a reward or a punishment. And anybody who agrees with that, he's not married though. Anybody who agrees with that is making a big mistake, because that's not how it is in my relationship. And I don't bully my wife around sex at all, but she never uses that as a weapon or a reward. I'm very attuned to that, very. And I give her credit for wanting to have sex with me anyway. So she's a queen she's a princess for that.
You can't joke like that, Arpain.
But
You can't joke like that, Arpain.
But Mr. Arpain, would you not agree that would you not agree that the most enjoyable sex is when she's completely willing and she wants to do it?
Yes.
And how we get her into that space is provide the most peaceful most peaceful environment as possible, right? So that's where I was coming from, right?
No,
so in order for you to get that,
part of it, I agree. Just the way you couched it. I hear you, Cassie. I didn't cut you. The way you couched it, you added a couple of things in there, but that part of it is absolutely correct. That's when I say her emotional currency, that bank account has to be full. And as a husband, you got to make sure it is. And that's where a lot of men go wrong. Because as a man, and this is precious, you might like this. As a man in a relationship with a woman, we burn credits, man. We burn credits, man. I know I burn credits.
I appreciate you for being hot, honest, open, and transparent.
I burn credits, but I do it on my own to replenish her supply, so she don't have to go around saying he just takes and never gives. And women complain about that a lot.
That's important. Yeah. And so when Kasim said, make it peaceful, what exactly does that look like? We're going to go around because we're going to get to the next video, but what exactly does that look like for a man making it peaceful for a woman? And what do you expect back in return? And not just sex, because you should be getting that, like Arpain said. But what is it that you're expecting back in return for making it peaceful? So what does that look like for you? Because everyone's will probably be different, I would believe, but it might be the same. I don't know, you're all men. So Kasim, we'll start with you, and then we'll go around and end with King.
Well, basically what I try to do in my relationship is I try to not just reestablish, but to solidify the stability that we have. Right. I'll mention certain things that I took care of. I'll mention certain things that I'm thinking about and I'm planning for the future. Right. And then within that dialogue, I'll explain to her exactly, what I did how we're going to go about things, and say, hey, do you have any input? Just by her knowing that everything is cool, everything is good, everything is calm, it's stable, she doesn't have to worry about X, Y, and Z, right? Then she can let all of those emotions and things, that emotional guard down, and then she opens up, right? And I can just see the look on her face. She'll smile a little bit more, or she'll just give a really big sigh, and she'll just be like, ah, one of those types of things. And then she begins to be softer and be more calm and at ease. And I like her when she's that way, right? Her voice changes, right? Her body language changes. She might get closer. We might just lay and chill, right? She might just stroke on my chest, or she might just scratch my head a little bit. And that's the benefit that I get, from that. And it's important for me to kind of keep doing that, keep letting her know how stable and how safe thing is, and how everything is pretty much in order, that she doesn't have to worry about all of those things. And I take on all of that, for myself, with her benefiting from it. So that's how I would explain it in my household.
Okay, now, hey, that's one to follow up. Now, there's one to follow up.
So I definitely agree with the reassurance. That's definitely one of the things I have to make sure I do. Make sure I answer a bunch of questions when she feels unsure about certain things, or there's something she feels insecure about, to make sure I reassure her. Make sure I speak words of affirmation into her. She needs that a lot. So I have to make sure that I do that. Sometimes more than I want to, but I know this is what she needs. So it's not about me all the time. I guess that's part of that compromise that we have to do. So I just make sure that I'll let that be known. And to definitely make sure, she's secure about anything that goes on around. Make sure she's aware of any changes or any situations that may arise, and make sure she's secure with it, and she's informed.
Man, 2 for 2 already. I love this. All right, Sean, don't mess it up.
That's gonna be hard. What do I do to keep peace? Just lie to her and tell her everything she want to hear. That's it. No, I'm just joking.
There's a lot of those out there. There's a lot of those out there.
I'm joking, but I'm not.
Thanks for keeping it real.
I'm joking, but I'm not. I literally have told some women that we would have had a more balanced and comfortable relationship had I told her what she just wanted to hear. Had I lied to her and told her what she just wanted to hear. Being honest, open, and transparent is a difficult thing. But to some of the men's point, Hank and Kasim, doing it in a tactful way, reassurance, is very critical. I agree. Just yesterday, I was at church with my ex, and we were, we're ex, so we're not. But I literally just kind of walked up to her, fixed her shirt, and I said, "You look beautiful." And the smile that I got from that was probably the biggest smile I had in a long time, because I don't usually say things like that. So that one
You
little
the ex?
compliment, huh?
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah, that one little compliment, I saw the difference. So to the points that they were just making, you literally can see the difference when you do the reassurance or when you do the complimentary, and you don't have to be dishonest about it. You can find things to actually compliment, and those compliments go a long way. That reassurance go a long way, because a lot of times you're dealing with insecurities or low self-esteem, and you're re-establishing it that you haven't even had a part of, that they just sometimes feel because of society, sometimes feel because of past experiences or whatever the case may be, and just a little bit of reassurance saying, hey, baby, you look beautiful today, really goes a long way. So to keep that peace and that harmony, yeah, those things are definitely necessary. And being attentive and listening. The sacrifice, just to the other point that we make, is sometimes it's opening up the doors, walking on the opposite side, just with the thought that if it can secure you because something comes on the curb, quote unquote, it will hit us first. It's a sacrifice that is a little thing that y'all don't think of sacrifices, but we're literally putting our lives in our mind in jeopardy to secure yours. Like when the ship goes down, we was talking about the plane. The captain is the person responsible to stay with the ship before the women, and that's what those are sacrifices that we make, consciously and subconsciously. So yeah, I think that harmony comes with just being mindful and considerate of your woman.
Okay. All right. Our pain.
Yeah, I mean, I said some of it already. Early on, I don't know how early on, but I recognize that we all as human beings have a certain amount of emotional currency. A lot of times we waste it on shit we shouldn't waste it on. But that works in a marriage too. My wife has a certain amount of emotional currency. And like I said, I make sure I replenish that because I burn credits. Now, there's a lot of things. So I really don't, here's the thing, we literally hug and kiss every single day. I mean, every day. I mean, no day passes where we don't grab each other and hug and kiss. I'm not talking about every day is a big passionate kiss, but we're all hugged up at least at some point throughout the day, multiple times. And we don't force that. It's a natural thing. And so one of the things in my life that I recognize with my wife is that all the stresses of the world outside are not on her shoulders. And the way I could tell is that she never has sleepless nights. Never. When she lays her head down, she's out in 5, 10 seconds. I used to count down. I said, shit, you're going to be, why are you even trying to talk? You'll be sleeping in the next 10 seconds. I'll be 9, 8, 7, 6. I mean, she don't have none of that shit. So what I do is every quarter I have her sit down and show her where everything's at so she would know. But I literally take care of everything. All of that stuff. And I don't look at that as a burden. I just look at it as something that I have to do. Right. And so I'm not saying okay. You know what's funny? We had a show about happiness on BMU's channel. And just for the show, I asked my wife, are you happy? And she says, well, I'm not happy all the time. And she actually said ebbs and flows. But she said, I don't look at you as the person responsible to make me happy. She don't visit these panels. She said that. And so, I just do with my part. And she does her part, and we just groove that way. And it's been a long time, so we're in this big groove, right? So, I mean, it's not unique, but it's just the way it is. So I know when she's in a bad place, I can see and I know it. And then that's when I ask her, well, what's going on? And if she feels like she has to tell me, she'll tell me. But we like I said, we're going to go hang out at the end of the week. Oh, I'm gonna land it here. Like Thursday, she's still working. So Thursday night she works late. So when she comes home, I'll have a cooked meal. Right? On Sunday, I not every Sunday, but twice I cook. I invite my girls over, they're grown women, and we sit around the table and I cook a meal for them. And then we talk. That stuff is all part of our family unit. So within that unit, I think we're all kind of satisfied, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So she's happy about that. Well, I hate to use the happy word because these panels have made it into a curse word, but she's satisfied with that. And that's how I make sure she's reassured about our marriage, and so am I. And we just keep moving.
Okay. All righty. The actual King Smith. Peace. How do you create peace?
So my lady said something to me that I said that I'm going to definitely hold her to, because what she said, I'm like, I like that. She said, I want to be a Proverbs 31 woman. And I said, what does that mean? So she read it to me. And the parts that stood out to me, and I'm bringing this up here, she opens her mouth with wisdoms, and the teachings of kindness is on her tongue, right? Like that's something that I value. And there were a couple of other things that were in there. And I said, okay, I'm liking how this is sounding. If you want to be this person for me, bet. What do you need from me? Like, what is it that you're requiring of your man so that you can be this Proverbs 31 woman and understand that I am going to hold you to that. As long as I'm doing what you're requiring, I am going to hold you to that. And I was very clear about saying that specifically. And she's sitting right here, so she's hearing me say all of this. And she said, I need you to be you. And I'm like, no. I need to understand specifically what it is that you need from me so that you can be this Proverbs 31 woman. And she said, you allow me to, I see you are commenting, you allow me to have the emotional space that I need to be content and, happy in this relationship, happy with what I have with you and with us. Speaking to what our pain said, like she's not worrying about this relationship. And I told her just, I'm gonna say yesterday or the day prior, that the moment that she has to worry about the relationship or any decisions that I make is the day that the relationship is in trouble. I'm like, look, I'm committing to this, right? And if I'm doing something that's causing you to worry, then this relationship is in trouble. Like I can't make a decision and worry about if the decision that I'm making is also causing you to worry. I don't operate like that. So she said for her to be a Proverbs 31 woman, she requires me to be able to give her space to be emotionally happy and things like that. And when she got done, I said, okay, those are things that I feel as though I can do. So I can commit to that. But I am also holding you to commit to the things that you said that you would be, as long as I'm giving you that. And if I'm not doing what I said that I was going to do, call me out.
Okay. So, you guys said some wonderful things about creating peace in our pain. I mean, to the point where she don't have no sleepless nights. I mean, you would be surprised how many people don't get sleep at night. You will be surprised how many people don't have a Kasim who's like, look, I'm doing this for me, but I'm doing it so you can benefit from it too. And I'm also still pouring into you because that's what I want to do. I believe that you're deserving of that. You have Hank who's like, hey, I not only had one thing on my counter, but for you, you can fill the whole counter with everything because I love you, boo. But even with the actual King Smith, and I think Arpane, you had said it too, how your woman is a woman of faith, right? The actual King Smith is with a woman of faith. And as far as peace is concerned, I think I said this on Fatty's live a couple weeks ago. Peace really, in my opinion, everybody has their own opinion and beliefs. In my opinion, really only comes from God. Peace is something that I don't, while you may be able to add to it, someone has to have peace first so they know what it looks like when you give it to them. So someone that's not at peace with themselves is not going to be able to receive a Kasim or receive a Arpane because they're not at peace with themselves. They're still at war with themselves. They're not going to be able to receive somebody like Hank, like, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to be able to receive it because they're going to be fighting tooth and nail. They're going to be at arms with you. They're not going to be able to just flow and be under your plan. And, you know, we talked about who compromises more and things like that. And those women who feel like they compromise more are at war with themselves. They don't have any peace, because if you had peace, you would be with someone who also can bring you peace. And so women who have peace know what it's like to be with a man who brings peace, because she already knows what that feels like in her soul. She already knows that she don't want to be arguing and carrying on and with the riffraff, because it don't bring her peace. But she also probably had to search herself to say, okay, at some point I was involved in these things, or at some point this may have been my life. So I think, you know, when it comes to, and men, you guys, you're going to find your peace. And I'm not saying that you don't need God, because you need God as well. But with women, it's very important for us to seek a higher power, God, to find peace. So we know what that, so we can receive that from a man. Like, we can truly receive that from a man. Because I think that women who don't have peace can't receive that type of leadership from a man, that type of teaching and nurturing the way that a man does. They can't receive it because they don't have any peace. So I appreciate you guys. Y'all women should be happy and proud of y'all. Okay. All right. That's why y'all on the men's panel, because y'all can teach these folks a thing or two, especially the young guys who watch this, and anybody who watches it, even the women who watch it, who have, you know, men in their lives or nephews or sons or whatever. You know, I think these guys come on here and they really, you know, questions like that really bring out, you know what I mean? I know Hank be talking about the heifers, but Hank also loves his woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's a balance. There's a balance in the show. All right, so we're going to get to the next video, second to last video, but they kind of go together because it's Dr. Umar in both of them. But we're going to get to this video now, and you guys let me know what you think. Oh, I'm sorry. Is that the one that I just played?
Yes, it is.
A lot of us in the community, and a lot of us in the community have pleasure contracts we call relationships. And the difference between a pleasure contract and a relationship is a relationship requires obligation and accountability. See, when you have a pleasure contract, I sex my queen when I sex her. We go to the movies when we want to go to the movies. We go to the Bahamas when we want to go to the Bahamas. We go to the festival when we want to go to. It's all pleasure based. I see you when you want to see me. You see me when you want to see me. Relationship, I'm accountable to you whether we having fun or not. Relationship, your long-term best interest as a human being is part of my responsibility. A lot of people are calling pleasure contracts and situationships, which is when neither one of you really know what the hell this is. We're calling them relationships and they're not. So number one, we got to be honest about what the particular structure is. Is this situationship? We just trying to figure it out. Is this a pleasure contract? We just having fun in and out of the bed when we feel like it? Or is this a relationship where you're going to be accountable to me even when you are angry and upset and don't want to be bothered? What exactly is this? Because there's a big difference.
All right. So wanted to play that because I have never heard someone call like situationships and things like that. I think this is like another category for it. Pleasure contracts versus relationships. So do you guys agree with that? There's pleasure contracts in which there really are no type of terms or any agreements. It's just anything happens whenever it happens, and I'm not really responsible for you, you know, willy-nilly, versus relationships where there's responsibility and accountability.
There's no responsibility. A relationship is a pleasure contract. As far as I'm concerned, either to me, if you ain't married, you know, I know Kasim, you could argue with me on this because I know you got a different relationship with your situation with your lady. But to me,
Let that brother.
Well, wait a minute. Well, let me say this. I'm gonna be real quick. Umar Johnson's full of crap, right? He got 2 baby mamas, and he's out there doing whatever the hell he's doing, and he's trying to parse words. You know, when you start to put all this kind of detail in a relationship, not today. Relationships, most of the relationships, the vast majority of them are just full of shit. People walk away from it faster than they walk away from anything at all, and they refuse to put a commitment around it, which is married. You call it a relationship, but it's still only half-assed with the back door wide open, you know, and that's not all relationships. I have to say that, but the vast majority of the way people look at relationships is exactly what I just said. That's why we're all over the place. And so if you ain't going to commit, you don't have to be the government's marriage, but if you don't really commit and you don't have no paperwork sealing that deal, whatever that paperwork might be, you're just talking noise. That's how I look at it.
So that's kind of, isn't that kind of what he was saying though? You know, if you don't solidify, if you don't make this official, then you're really entering into a pleasure contract with someone, not really setting any boundaries, standards, or ground rules, or foundation for what's going on.
Okay, if that's the question, let me real quick. What's the difference between a relationship with just 2 people saying, "I want to be with you, you want to be with me"? It's still a pleasure contract, but what makes it solid? Just because you say so? You know, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that you could just look at somebody and say, "You're with me, I'm with you," and if I get sick, you can't even visit me in the hospital because we have no paperwork. You can't say nothing about my life, and you can stay with me for 5 years, but we don't have no paperwork. You like DMX and his girl.
Mm.
You know, so it's all bullshit, man. You know?
Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, now I'm detecting a bit of phobia over there. You phobic. You
What's the phobia?
monogamous.
What's the phobia?
It's all about monogamous relationships only. And
Yeah.
while I can understand what you're saying, that doesn't mean that every relationship that's not monogamous
But
it
that's not
doesn't
what
have
I'm going with Umar said.
that you're
I'm going
speaking
with
to. But it doesn't mean that it has the type of commitment you're speaking to. A lot of people get married and do not honor that. And you keep forgetting that.
No,
Just because
I
you
didn't
honor
forget
it
it.
doesn't mean that just because you honor it doesn't mean that people who get married
Did
are
you
all of a
listen to
sudden
Umar? Did you listen to what
prestigious.
Umar said? Did you listen to
And
Umar Johnson?
just now?
Yeah. He wasn't
I
talking
agree.
about those guys screwing on each other. He was talking about a
But he wasn't
relationship
talking about
between a
his
man and a woman.
relationship. You went into his relationship. He said people who are just playing around, and that goes for both men and women who just play around.
He said
It's not
relationships too. He said a relationship is different.
right. A relationship,
What's that? That's a
right? And a
monogamous.
relation. What I'm saying, I agree. What I'm sharing with you is a relationship. You emphasize heavily on monogamy when you talk about relationships and marriages.
No,
And
I talk
I
about that.
understand that
I
now.
talk about that in marriage. I don't think that you could cheat on a person if you just have a relationship. I don't believe that because you're all bullshit anyway.
Again, I know what this is what I'm trying to share with you. That's why I say it's a prejudice there because you just think everything is bullshit that doesn't look like the way you think of
because
it.
we live in
And
it.
in fairness,
We're living it. We're living it. Right? We're living it all around us, Sean.
then I'm a single man. I'm a single man who will tell you that a lot of your marriages are bullshit because you don't honor what you vow.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Yeah, that doesn't make you right. I mean, the marriage is
So
full
my
of all
point
these
being,
people are bullshit in the marriage.
it's about what you honor. My point being is about what you honor,
I
and the
agree
relationship.
with
To his
that.
point,
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. So
I'll
to
agree
his
with that.
point, those
I agree
who
with
are
that.
doing it with intention are honoring the relationship. But when you're not,
Yeah.
when you don't have any intention other than having fun, it is exactly what he described it as.
Let me tell you, that back door and that honor has the one O missing for open back door.
Okay.
No, I hear you, Sean. I mean, okay, listen, I hear what you're saying, though. Don't 100% agree, but I hear what you're saying.
So, Hank, what do you think about pleasure contracts versus relationships? Do you think that's a thing, or do you think it's just another Dr. Umar rant?
Well, look, I mean, it sounds a lot more pleasurable than what I was calling it back in the days. So, back in the days, I used to make them pleasure calls or pleasure contracts or whatever the case may be. Yeah, because I was calling them booty calls, late night, getting ass opportunities. Yeah, those are probably wasn't too pleasant and probably wasn't nice. So I like that pleasure was that the pleasure contract? Or yeah, I think that's probably more appropriate for the ladies to hear if I say, yeah, I got a pleasure contract. Yeah, no, instead of yeah, you the back door chick, you the side door chick, you the last call for alcohol chick. Yeah, those probably wasn't going over too well if they knew what I was really saying about. But hey, look, I could agree with that because I had some relationships that I wouldn't consider serious, and yeah, that's what they was there for, to give me my opportunity to get my pleasures off and keep it moving. Now, of course, now the ones who I had real relationships with, I looked at them as good, solid relationships. So I don't have no issue with him calling it a pleasure call. I think it's a nice way of saying what we know it really is.
So the ones that were, just jump offs or whatever, did you tell them up front that that's what they were, or did you sign the pleasure contract and she didn't, and then when the terms were broken, there
Now,
was an
Princess,
uproar?
you know how I feel about the hoes. The hoes do not get the truth; they get lied to. So
Okay.
no, I wasn't upfront with them. I wasn't honest with them. I'm just being straight. I wasn't. I'm gonna tell them like Sean said. I'm gonna tell them what they want to hear to get you to the spot. And once I get you to the spot, I'm gonna use and abuse you for them 20 goddamn minutes, and I'm gonna see you off to the streets. I probably will call you to make sure you got home safe, or ask you to call me, make sure you got home safe, and everything's on the up and up. But yeah, that's normally how it went. So no, there wasn't a lot of truth being told when I was dealing with them hoes. Now, when I was dealing with real ladies, they got the honest truth. They got heat. They got all of me. That I was upfront with them, let them know what it is. It is what it is.
All right, hey, Hink,
But them
question.
others, they don't make it. They didn't make the honesty list. Yes, sir, King.
Question,
What's your
because that wasn't me. Why couldn't you be upfront with the hoes too and say, hey, look, this is all this gonna be, and if you cool with that, we straight? Like, why couldn't that be what was led with from the jump?
So I had no respect for the hoes. So if I don't respect you, I'm not giving you the truth. I feel like you didn't deserve that. So you're going to get what I have to give you. That's all you deserve from me. I'm not telling you for what. I want to keep you going. I want to keep you around.
Yeah,
so whenever I'm tired, it's hard, and the good ones wasn't coming through, I had to go with the guarantees. You understand what I'm saying?
All right, so
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, King. Go ahead.
No, I'm trying to understand that, because I coming to the table saying, hey, look, this is all this is ever going to be. Are you on this program? And they agree. Like, you can still make shots with that versus eliminating people by lying to them, and just trying to tell them what it is that they want to hear. Like, I don't understand that.
So King always wanted to make sure I stacked the deck and I want to better my odds. So my odds was better if I didn't tell him all that. Now let me tell you when I was honest with him,
Get it.
and all you was the jump off or booty call, all that. When I got tired of you, and now I'm saying, baby girl, it's all you was a jump off. You was a piece of ass. You wasn't nothing serious. I didn't take you serious. Have you noticed? Only time you came over was when the sun went down. So you was a sundown chick. You don't realize it, but that's what you are. I didn't ever take you out in the public. You never seen me. I never met your kid or your children or your family members. No. You came over when I needed you, and you left when I was ready to scar you and get you up out of there and turn you to the streets. That's what I did. But when you pissed me off, I was honest with you. You might not like how I presented it to you. You might not like what I had to say. But then I gave it a straight up honesty. You ain't shit to me. Keep it moving.
Damn. All right. So
and then we have a scarred woman, and that's why I don't condone it at this point. I'm aware of it, and I say men do it all the time, and I say that's the bullshit that men do. And that, I understand it, but it's still some bullshit. Don't negate that it's some bullshit, because now we dealing with all of these scarred women because they wasn't told the truth, when you can get the ass if you tell the truth.
Yes,
and I tell them what I did. But I understand what you're saying, Sean. But you love to cancel the hoes and say, I got
but to your point, one thing I respect about you directly, Hank, is that you admit what you were and who you are now, and what you described in your relationship now is not that. And I respect that entirely. I understand those who go through it. Just because I think it's some bullshit don't mean I have less respect for the person, especially when in fact they have changed that mentality or that thought, and you display that all the time in your conversation.
So what I was gonna say is, so Tay-Biz. I'm sorry, Hank. Did you want to respond to that?
I was gonna say I was saved and changed by the blood of the Lamb. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the prayer warriors. Somebody pray for your boy.
So Tay-Biz TV says the irony is that women know that, right? So I want to say that there is truth to that. I think that some women don't want to face the truth at certain points, but at the end of the day, a woman knows. She should know, and if she's not taught, or if she doesn't have someone to teach her, then that's going to be a huge problem, because then she's going to think that that's normal. She's going to think the pump and dump is normal. She's going to think the late night calls and stuff is normal, and that's all she is worth, because she's not seeing her worth. But he also said something else that I wanted to address. They pretend not to, so that way it doesn't allow them to feel less of themselves, but they know what it is. We grown as hell. Stop it. What I want to say to that is, Hank said something, and he said, I'm going to give her whatever I want, or the key word there is give, right? You are going to give her, because as men, you guys insert a woman. You go into a woman, right? And so it is known that what you give a woman, she is going to multiply. See, this is why men get there, and I ain't one of these crazy ones, because I'll just stop dealing with you, child. But there are women who will take a bet to your car windows. There are women who will try to destroy your life because you think that she is a hoe, or you think that she's only good for her coochie, or you want a quick nut real quick. You have to realize that sometimes the nut that you are seeking will be the hell that you live in, depending on what woman you do this to. So I'm not saying stop being the men that you are, but I'm saying be aware and knowledgeable that you're not just getting a nut, and you're not just giving dick. You are giving more than what you think. And that's why sex or marriage is a container of sex, because of how powerful it is. So when you make statements like, oh, well, they pretend not to know and blah, blah, blah. No, women know. Women know they can mess up your life if you allow them to. And once you give it to them, they can do that. It ain't right. It ain't right. But that will be her number one excuse. That will be why her feelings are all out of whack. And I'm not saying this right, because I'm the number one advocate of women knowing how to regulate their emotions. It's important for reasons like this. It's important for knowing the men that are just going to have sex with you and walk away or don't want nothing to do with you. It's important for these reasons. But for the women who are not emotionally stable, for the women who do not have regulation over their emotions, oh, you giving it to her, all right. But watch the chaos she multiplies in your life. So again, men will be men, and y'all gonna give it to them. We gonna give it to them. Y'all gonna be DMX, but you don't want to give it to just anybody. Just like y'all said, tell women, don't just be open up your legs to anybody. You don't want, because women, when they are hurt, they don't know how to regulate their emotions. They will turn your life upside down, and you will be left there like, well, dang, all I wanted was a nut. All I wanted was a good night. All I wanted was to feel good because I was alone, because I ain't have nobody. I just broke up with my ex. You know what I mean? So I'm just putting that out there. And I know y'all know this because y'all grown ass men. But for the people that are watching, and for the young men that are watching, yes, we all grown. Yes, you feel like you grown. You pay your own bills. You have your own job, things of that nature. But you need to be careful of the woman that you just laying with, not just the woman that you're going to marry, even the woman that you're just laying with, because you do not know what she's capable of, because she has been given something. When she receives something, there's going to be something that comes out of it. And for some men it's mild. For some men it's wild. For some men it's nothing. But for some men, there are some things that you just can't come back from, because, you know what I mean? You out here with these hoes, because hoes don't care. Like you say, you gonna lie to them because you feel like, but they don't care. They don't care. And I would hate for something bad to happen to someone because they just wasn't careful with who they were laying down with. All right, so did we get to Kasim on this one?
No, I just let you. That was you was dropping on that one. I think it is very important to be, honest and transparent with what you want. And most times, some of those women are going to be down, for that particular arrangement. But getting back to what Omar was saying about, I'm sorry, Umar was saying about the pleasure contract and the relationship. I think, as Mr. Payne said, it's really about or was it Sean, about the intent, right? There are levels of intent in the pleasure contract. There's a level of intent in the relationship, and those two particular things, they vary when it comes to scope, distance, priorities, values, principles, and all those things. And I think that's where the difference comes in at. There may be some individuals who are perfectly cool with, wanting that pleasure contract, right? And it may work for them, and they might have a healthy little thing going on as long as those two people agree to that particular contract and they're going within the boundaries and they're just satisfied for what they're getting. I'm not gonna knock them for that. However, there does come a point where, when you get into a relationship where everything kind of shifts, right? I think the men really truly go into our masculinity, where our problem solving and our provision and everything like that really goes on to a higher state and a higher level that kicks in the overdrive. When we know we have that woman under our covering, we know what the expectations are of her, but we also know how capable of men we are and what we can do, for those women. So I think there's two very distinct ways of looking at it, measuring the intent of each.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I definitely agree with that. I agree with that. All right, so did everybody speak on the pleasure contracts versus relationships video? Because I thought that was very interesting. I said, wow, that's a new way to put it. But I think that, everyone definitely should be careful. And I think that, when you go in with the intent, it's funny because I've heard certain things. I don't think people realize how they tell on themselves and they say certain things. But I've heard men say, "Oh, I would just lie." Like I've heard them say that, and I'm like, wow, said that loud. Me to hear. Like, it's like, as women, you're like, dang, like, is he lying or not? But when somebody will straight out say, oh, I'm just lie. It's like, wow,
And Precious, to your point, that's the reason why I say women, or I put accountability on women, because if you take enough time, a man will say that.
mm-hmm.
And he will tell on himself. And unfortunately, a lot of times women don't take the time to vet that man, or don't know how to vet that man, and they fall victim to some of those lies. And that's why I was telling men all the time, I'm like, yo, if you lying, you sitting there asking the person, your daughters, your sisters, to just believe a liar, because that's the game, because that's what men do, and that's some BS to me. That's why we continue to have a cycle, because you continue to condone a lie when it's convenient for you, and then try and prosecute a lie when they start reacting to it. And
That part.
it's unfair. You know what I mean? And
As a woman, when you hear someone say that, it's like, okay, well, what else would you lie about? Where else do you cut your integrity in half? Where else do you cut corners on your integrity? Like, you know what I mean? Because to do it with a human means that you might do it in your affairs, your business work. Like, a lot of those things make a woman think like, oh wow. And like you said, Sean, a lot of women don't vet men. They don't study them enough to gather enough data to say, yeah, this ain't it. This ain't it. A lot of women don't do that. And I think that a lot of women should. And I think that there are certain things that you hear and that you listen to that can give you those answers. And a lot of times it just comes down to straight up integrity and respect. The simple things.
Yeah.
If you can't tell me the truth, I always say, you don't have to give me nothing but to keep it real with me. But men always feel like women can't handle the truth. So really, it's, a man don't think that he's losing, but it's not that you're losing a woman, you're losing your integrity. Like it shouldn't even have nothing to do with the woman. As a man, you should be a man straight up and down. Straight up and down.
But let me ask you a question, Precious. Do we really honestly think that women don't know what the deal is these days? I mean, what's the difference between?
I think that women know what the deal is. I think that it gets to the point where how long we going to go with this deal? Like he said in the video, he's like, you don't have any concrete, answers. There's whereas in a relationship, there's accountability. So if I don't like you and we're in a relationship, I'm still going to be accountable for nurturing you. But if I'm not in a relationship with you and we in a pleasure contract, I could say goodbye to you, and I don't even have to say goodbye to you. I could just stop reaching out. I could just go my way. You go your way.
But Precious, in today's relationships, right? Are you trying to tell me that women are necessarily just? I know nobody wants to get married, but okay, like they say, I don't believe it, but let's just say women want more. If you just have a relationship with a woman, right? Just what you call this so-called Umar Johnson relationship where it's supposed to be serious, depending on the woman and what her age she is, a man will suck all her biological years dry. Right? So, and if that's all you want, is that really the commitment most women want? They want something more than that. You throw a kid out there and then that changes the dynamics. But this whole thing about just a relationship between me and you, I think that unwritten contract gets broken very easily. You know why? Because it's an unwritten contract.
Well, that's what he's saying, RP.
No. But what I'm saying is that doesn't mean a man's a liar.
It doesn't mean that he's a liar, but it doesn't mean that a woman feels secure in any type of foundation or plan either. So I think that
you proving my point. That's why the relationship doesn't have no real foundation. Because there's
Well,
nothing to
Payne,
build on.
You have a good point, but here's the deal that the women do know the deal. The deal that the women know is that men lie, and men will sit there and lie to them. That's the deal that they are starting to accept, and that's why these pleasure contracts are things that they're accepting. Because at
I'm
that
not
point,
talking
they're
about
like,
present contract.
what I'm
I'm
sharing
talking
with
about the
you,
relationship.
I'm sharing. I understand that. What I'm saying is, you say you think women don't know the deal. Women know the deal. The deal is that they get lied to for their box. They've been guilty of it because men, like we just described, will lie to them to do it, and they
It's not
have
a
caught
lie
on
if
to
they
that.
know what the deal is. It's not
But
a lie if they know what the
wait,
deal is.
Payne, we just finished saying Hank just admitted it. I lied to them. So
Well,
stop sitting there
he
acting
was
like it ain't a
just
lie.
saying.
It's a lie.
I didn't say men
There's no
didn't
way
lie to
around.
women, but
I'm not talking about
we're
those.
not talking
I'm
about
not
one
talking about.
man. We're talking about in general.
In general, men lie to get the box, and you know
But
it. Why are
yeah,
you
I
sitting
know
there
men lie,
denying it?
but I don't think that men have to lie like they used to get the box. Women are giving the box away freely. What are you talking
And you're
about?
absolutely right, but men still lie to get it. We
Yes.
just finished
Yeah,
going
but that's
through
not
this.
the way.
He was
Yeah, but
lying
that's
to
not the
get it
major.
instead of just
I
saying, I
don't
want the
agree that
box,
that's
and
the
they'll give it to
majority of the
them,
problem. That the
but
women
they'll
don't have
give it.
no
What I'm
sense
saying is,
and they have
they,
no agency, and men just lie to get the box like this. Some dumb
you,
bunny rabbits waiting around. If a woman don't know what a man wants from her when she's mature, that's just bullshit, man.
well, Payne, how you gonna sit there and say a
I
woman
can't
is
sit
supposed?
here and say that.
Let me ask you the
Two
question.
old
Let me ask
heads
you a
just
question.
talking.
How you gonna just sit and say that a woman is supposed to recognize that a man is lying
No,
when
I didn't
in
say that.
fact
I didn't say
this is
that.
what
I
this
said
is
a
what you
man. I said a
implying.
woman
This is
knows
what
that a man
this is
wants
what
some box.
again. How are you going to sit there and say a woman knows that a man wants some box when in fact the man just told, and you know that a man tell, I will say anything to get the box.
You don't have to lie. Women, listen. A woman
You're
knows that
right.
a man.
I agree with you.
Are
You
you
don't
trying to
have to
tell
lie,
me
but
women don't
men
know that
do.
men want sex?
You
Are you
don't have
trying
to
to tell
lie.
me that?
What I'm saying is you don't have to lie, but men do. For what
Yeah,
reason? I
okay,
don't
so but
know.
I
It
don't
makes no
think it's as
sense to
big
me.
as the issue as you do because you're letting women hide behind the non-accountability. Men
No,
do lie. When a woman's in a
Pain,
relationship,
Pain. If
she
you got
let
locked up because a police officer said that you did something that you didn't do, is that lack of accountability? No, that's a police officer
no,
lying, and
I'm
now
not
you're locked up
buying this.
because of it.
Okay, I hear you, Sean, but I just don't buy this thing that women are these innocent creatures that can't see men coming from a mile away. That's crazy,
I
man.
don't, I don't, I don't, I
I
don't
mean,
think that's the
stop.
case. What I'm
Hey,
saying is that.
let me help you two old heads out, man. As far as
Thank you.
relationship, man, the thing about it, a woman's got to let her know what her intentions are. You got to let a man know what your intention is. If your intentions want something serious, you want to say you want to get married, you got to let it be known. You can't just assume that the man's going to marry you just because y'all been together over 5 to 6 years. That's not going to work. You got to let it be known what your intentions are. If your intentions, you got to come correct when y'all talking, when y'all having them conversations. You ought to have them hard conversations. Now, whether figure a man out is a lie or not, to see how he moves. That's all you got to do. If he tells you one thing and he's doing the opposite, he's a motherfucking liar. If he's saying what he's saying and he's doing what he's saying, then that man's got some honesty to him. Then rock with it. But if he's not doing what he say, he's a goddamn lie. How hard is that? Ask questions. Follow-up questions.
You're
You
right.
have follow-up questions. Nobody's above reproach. Even that man who's trying to get with you, he's not above reproach. Ask questions. But y'all don't want, ladies, y'all don't want to ask questions because y'all may be afraid of what the answer's going to be. You
Yeah.
can't do that. If your heart's on the line, you better. Or you going to be sitting there eating some goddamn bonbons and ice cream all goddamn night.
I think you hit it on the head, Hank, when you said that, you know, a lot of them don't want to accept it because they don't want to hear it because they know it's the truth. And it's hard for them to face that truth because the delusion of what or the perception of what it can be is more alluring, right? Versus knowing the hard facts and the hard truth of what exactly it is. And I think most of them can't really deal with that.
That's a good answer, Hank, because I tell you, man, I refuse to hear a grown woman don't know what a man wants from her. regardless of what he says.
I think women in general always know that men want sex. I mean, I don't think that any woman is naive to that. Like, I don't. If they are, I don't know what planet they living on, because men are visual, men are physical. Like, that is men 101. Y'all want sex. It's I don't know. Like, so getting past that, a woman has to understand who she rocking with. And someone had asked, and Hank said it, but someone had said, well, how can you recognize a lie when it's a lie? And you can recognize a lie when it's a lie because I forget who said it, but sometimes they will actually tell you that they'll lie. They're not moving the same. You have to study a man, and I think a lot of women don't study a man long enough to know when he playing her, or she's not coming to terms with the truth because of what Kasim said. The fantasy of what it could be is better than what reality is, so she ain't ready to face reality yet. Women do know. I'll be the first one to tell you, women know when it ain't right. But it's like, oh, well, do I give him a chance? Should I be patient? And I think that women need to, their cutoff game kind of needs to be like a man's. If a man know he's not going to deal with you, ain't nothing going to change his mind about dealing with you. But yeah, a woman will get her mind changed halfway 10 times a Sunday, thinking that something's going to change. But a man know he's dealing with you for one reason, he's sticking to that reason.
Yes.
A woman will be like, oh no, but maybe he can, maybe I can change him. And it's like, no, you can't. Don't think you're that powerful now. Don't think you're that powerful. Only God can change people. Only people who want to change will change, but don't think that you can do it. So I think, women have to do a better job of just letting go of what's just not for you, and it's not for you. I think men can do a better job at being like, hey, I'm not going to do it to every single one that I see out here. I'm going to use a little bit more wisdom because, out of nowhere, my life can change. And it's not because I had sex, but I had sex with the wrong person. I gave it to the wrong person. That energy, that giving it to the wrong person can really, really change your life. For the better, and it don't even have to be a baby. Like, you know what I mean? Babies come out of sex, but there's a lot more that can come out of sex than the natural reproduction of sex. And I think that that's important for men to really hone in on, because the women of 2024 are not like the women of 1999. Like, the women of 2024 are finding crazy ways to mess y'all up. And that's what's crazy to me, because women will actually sit and think of these ways, get their friends involved. It's crazy. So just be careful who you're laying down with, because these women don't care about you and you think you don't care about them. Okay. You might get a little reverse on you. So you just got to be careful. I wouldn't want to see nobody going through hell because a woman didn't know how to regulate her emotions, and and you couldn't recognize it. Oh, I didn't realize Sean dropped off. Okay.
Hey, King, I put my real link in the back chat. The other one is wrong.
What was that question?
I didn't realize you had dropped off. I'm sorry. But we're going to get to this last video. And that is real love. Real love versus romantic contract. So he kind of goes in here as well, just from a different angle.
When you truly love somebody, truly, here's the thing about love. Love is unconditional. That's the first thing I want to say.
Is it really?
Love is unconditional. If it's conditions on it, it ain't love. It's a contract. And that's okay if both of you agree on those terms. She may agree. We have a pleasure contract. We got an economic contract where you're going to take care of me. And as long as you take care of me, I'm going to be your woman. The Puff Daddy arrangement. You feel me? That works for some people. No, you have women like that. You have men like that.
Right.
I'm going to floss you up. And as long as I floss you up, you can be loyal to me. But that's a contract. That's not love. Contracts are different from love. Why? Contracts are conditional. Right. Love is unconditional. If I love my queen, what if she comes home one day and say, hey, baby, I don't want to work this. I don't want to be a lawyer no more. But if I only married her, because I like the way her law degree looks on Dr. Umar in public. You see how this goes? She's changing. But if I love her, okay, baby, that's what you don't want to do. You want to go into something else? Let's do it. Love is when you love somebody, you are 100% unapologetically and unconditionally committed to that person's best interest, even if it is to your loss. What if your fiance come home and say, listen, babe, I had a long conversation with my ex-husband. I never thought I would look at this again, but we left a lot on the table together. I enjoyed the time we had. I think that man might still be my soulmate. I got to move on. I might still hurt because I loved her, right? But if that love is true, if you feel that's who you meant to spend the rest of your life with, I gotta love you and want the best for you. Most of us cannot do that. What we call love is limited to your investment in me. You see that?
Yeah.
Anytime they step outside of the box we created for them, we get angry because that was not love. You had conditions on it. Your woman gained 20 pounds. Now you're going to divorce her. You say, if you gain another 20 pounds, this marriage is over. That was not love. That was a contract because it had conditions. If I love that woman unconditionally, whether she gained 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, I'm not going nowhere. Now, we might need to have a conversation about her health because I want you around for our children to get married. You understand? Right. But there's no such thing as ending a relationship because you stepped outside of my perfect box if you loved her. Love is unconditional. And most of what we got in the Black community are contracts disguised as loving relationships.
I've got to go first because I've got to honor my health and balance. I'm still kind of, getting over the
Definitely got to get some rest. We understand.
But oh my goodness, where to even start with this? Like really on the surface, a marriage is a contract. A relationship in general is a contract, whether it's defined or spoken. If you have a relationship with somebody, you are setting up a contract. If anybody wants to lead with, we're going to use love to define this marriage, then you've given me the blueprint on how to manipulate you. And I'm not saying that I'm a manipulative type person, but you can't use emotion to drive the relationship. You have to have some definitive things around how that relationship should flow by having a contract on what you are and aren't going to do within that relationship. Omar, I think that message is to a more feminine audience that is going to hear that, and that's going to sound good to them, because I'm hearing all of that and I'm like, that's such bullshit. That's such bullshit. And I'm going to mute there.
Thanks, King. All right. Arpain. And welcome, Aaron. Thank you so much for joining us.
Listen, Umar, man, he's just such rhetoric. The only part I'll say is I don't completely disagree about love not being unconditional. But I'll tell you this. If my wife had a ex and she came to me and said, listen, if you love me, you'll let me go, I'll say, yeah, as long as you don't ask for a goddamn thing. No money, no alimony, get the hell out of my house, and all of that shit, yeah, go. You can leave. But if you're gonna give me some bullshit about you want to take half of my assets and go, stroke down somebody else, I'm not with it. I mean, if you want a clean break, go ahead. And that includes the kids. You ain't getting them either, goddammit. Get out of here. So then fine. It's unconditional. You made a choice. I'll see you later, baby. But it's not gonna be like that. She's gonna want to rake me over the coal, fray me like the guy in the Game of Thrones and shit, peel off my skin, and then leave. So all I'm just trying to say is, man, his example is so full of shit. This guy got 2 baby moms. He ain't married none of them. And he's not even practicing what he preaches. Okay, I didn't love those women. Then why did you impregnate? That's not part of your big Umar plan. So everything he says is just bullshit. Well, not everything, but a lot of it.
Okay. Hank? Is love really unconditional, according to Dr. Umar?
I mean, look, it's like you said. I think somebody said it's more. I think it was King said there's more push towards a female persuasion. Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, he's going to do what he needs to do to keep the ladies' panties wet. So I understand. Um, is it a contract? Yeah, it definitely is, and it's something that we both got to both agree on, and we have to come to terms on. We both got expectations and needs and wants and desires that we both want. So we got to present them to each other during the presentation, whenever you choose that to be, whether it's while you having your tough conversations and letting them know, what your expectation is, what is your standards, what you will tolerate, what you will not tolerate. And you got some gives and takes. You know what I'm saying? One of the ones I presented to her, a no girl ship. She's okay with that. She's okay with it. Now she asked me, well, what about you? Are you gonna? I said, no, I don't have to have that. I said, look, if my guys decide to go on the guys trip, I said, you more than welcome to go. We're gonna get a hotel and do our thing. Now, when the guys do something together, you stay at the hotel. I go shopping around town, do what you think. But when I go with them, I'm with them. When I come back to the hotel, it's gonna be me and you. And there's gonna be days we're gonna have our own time. Say, fellas, I ain't gonna be able to hang tonight. It's just me and my lady. And I said it's gonna be vice versa with you and your girl trip, same way. I ain't got a problem with that. But that's just to make sure everything's on the up and up. She want to do it, so it's a negotiation we had to come to terms with, and we both agreed on it. So yeah, I believe a lot of relationships do that. And some do it just don't realize they doing it. Some do it and don't realize and I think more so women do these negotiations because they that's their way of saying I have a lot to lose, but in all reality, men have more to lose than women. But that's their way of trying to see if it's worth signing on to this man. You know what I'm saying? By not only by seeing his leadership skills or what is he willing to work with me and negotiate with me in case there's some things that I can't fulfill that he wants. Would he be willing to give me a learning curve? Would he be able to give me a little grace or whatever the case may be? I'm landed there.
I believe love has conditions to it. It is conditional. Uh, I believe that love is a feeling of what that person has done for you in the past and the potential what they can do for you in the future at that very exact moment. Right? It's normally when a person thinks of those things, that's when those words come out based upon what they've done for you in the past or what you can have potentially have done in the future. And that's conditional, right? There is a metric involved in that love and that feeling coming out, and that's never going to change, right? So I think that the sooner we understand and realize that, and use that to our benefit to get the best outcomes that we can get for the health of the relationship, then I think that's where we need to start.
Okay. Okay. How about for you, Sean? You
Uh,
think love is really unconditional? Or
Love is unconditional. Not many of our fragile egos, both men and women, can accept that, but love is unconditional. Now, a relationship and marriage is a contract. And within that contract, you can have love. You should have love at times. But love it, because when you get out of the relationship between a man and a woman, love all of a sudden, when it comes to your children, becomes unconditional. When it comes to yourself, becomes unconditional. When it comes to somebody you value or something you value, it's unconditional. So love is definitely unconditional. I just think that a lot of times our selfishness, our egos, our pride makes us not want to really accept that someone else. Literally, I just went to the funeral of my ex on Friday, and I met her new man for the first time. Now he had the same attitude that initially, and that forged a wedge within our friendship. But when I actually met him and he understood, I was like, "Yo, I got love for you because she loved you." So at this point, I have nothing but anything you need and I could provide, you got, because I loved her. I know she loved you. You know she loved me. And so at this point, I got nothing but love for you. But he wouldn't have been able to understand that when she was here because he didn't know my character. But the point is that I love people like, yo, I've been stabbed in the back and still like, yo, all right, you know what? Keep it moving. Now I will separate from that, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who just get hurt, can't really let go of that hurt, can't really let go of that pain, can't really get beyond it, and then talk about they love. And all of the things that they could provide is what they start. It becomes a condition in their mind because they don't want to get hurt again. And to me, hurt comes with love. So yeah, love is unconditional. Relationships and marriage is contractual, and I think that love can be within that contract of those relationships. So I understand what Dr. Umar is saying, and I'm not judging him because of what he does. I'm just listening to what he's saying, and what he's saying makes sense without my emotions being involved. And a lot of us men need to get over our emotions.
Sean, why do you feel like you keep involving yourself in your ex's relationships, man? Why do you do that?
Once again, because I have unconditional love, something that is not understood very clearly. So if I love a person, and just because we separate and we have a breakup, don't mean I stop loving them, because otherwise my love wasn't genuine in the first place.
Sean,
And
let me ask you this.
yes,
Do
sir.
you believe that there's a difference between LOVE and LUV and how it's used in those particular contexts?
I'm not sure. Tell me the difference between the context.
No, because you know how I think in that instance, how I received it when it come to that woman and that man, the old flame. I think it's LUV, that type of love, like out of respect, right? Versus the LOVE, which is
Okay.
more of the agape, that type of
Not
love.
right. Now that you explained that, love, that's our biggest issue. Love in English language has one word that can describe so many different emotions and so many different ties. So if you're using it and you're separating it in that context, yes, when I say I love her, I don't love her LOVE like you just described in a romantic way. I love her in an agape way. And that's why I can have love for him in the same way. So no, I'm not in love with her is what I would, no, we've had our time. But do I still love her? Absolutely, because that's just humanity. That's just in my mind what humanity is about. And so I'm not trying to get and go through my lustful ways with her. I love her in a humane way. And to your point, yes, it is, I do separate it, and I don't always separate the word, or I just use the word because that's the only word in our English language that we have
Hmm.
to describe it.
Right, and I think that we can use that in a particular context, and I think how we mean it.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why conversation and communication then comes in, because like he just asked the question, it's a fair question. Why do I? And I can answer that question. It's not probably, I don't know if everybody can agree or not, but that's not my concern. I can answer the question though, in the same way you just asked me the difference. I didn't understand the LUV until you explained it and defined it. And with that definition, yes, that is exactly what I'm speaking from and to. And I didn't separate the word or get caught up in my emotions about the words, which sometimes we do.
Hmm.
Well, there are about 7, right? Different loves.
Hmm.
So I guess Sean 5, 8. Okay, 8 different types of love. So I guess Sean is showing the agape love, which is, the love for everyone. Um but it gets a little murky when it's your ex, but we're going to keep moving on. So Aaron, what do you have to say about this? Is love really unconditional? According to Dr. Umar, when you love somebody, you should be able to consider them. What do you think?
Well, thank you for hosting me on your panel. Most of the gentlemen here know, good to see you guys. To answer your question, Ms. Precious, I think in the context that he was speaking of in Eros, love between man and woman, where there's romance, is 100% conditional. That's evidenced in the fact that both parties should have boundaries set and both parties have standards that the other must meet. That right there is a quid pro quo relationship. There is a set of conditions that have to exist in order for this thing to even manifest. Without it, like, we're not even having a conversation. And if one of those things goes away or becomes jeopardized, then the foundation becomes really shaky. Now, I think what he's confusing with love is duty. Once you've pledged duty, you can be led to do that through love. Once you pledge duty to someone, and this is where we start talking about the marital institution, that is more along the lines of unconditional. But that has to be established under a predetermined set of conditions to begin with. You're not just going to do that for any low life that, you know what I mean? Like, there's a standard that has to be met, right? And there has to be a proven track record that you fit the criteria and that you find value in me as well. It's earned.
Right, right.
100%. But yeah, everything everybody said on the panel, 100%, starting with you, Ms. Precious. As you guys were talking, I literally was like following the bouncing ball, thinking it 100%.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you for being here.
Thank you.
So Arpan, I wanted to ask you. So,
Yes, ma'am.
You've been married for quite some time.
Yes.
And you've been doing the panels for quite some time. So
Yeah.
I believe I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you love your wife unconditionally, or are there conditions?
It's only one condition.
I already know what it is, but go ahead, tell the newcomers. Let them know.
I don't even need to go there. It's only one condition.
All right. Well, they should be watching. Y'all should be tuned in, then you would know what the condition is.
I don't even want to bring it up like a broken record, man. I'm not.
No, I understand. Okay, so there's one condition.
Right.
But there is not like a list of conditions.
Well, let me tell you,
it's
only one condition because, listen, there's a few things I want from my respect is one. Exclusivity, right, is another. Access is another. Nurturing of my children, and love, and which is in the vows. But if she breaks that one piece of covenant, she lost respect for me. That's at the top of my list, and I don't see how she could ever get it back. So it's all tied together. So, and everybody knows if she cheated on me and I found out.
Can you know this? You've been on this panel,
That's it. Everything else, man. Listen, we've been through a lot of nothing real crazy, but we've been through a couple of challenges, and breaking up never came up. Never, not even close, not even a word of it. So and nobody lets me forget how long I've been married. So it'll be 37 years in August.
37 years.
Yeah.
So one condition, I think we can all live with one condition. You know what I mean? I think that there's a problem when you have a lot of conditions and you're not considering the person that you picked and the person that you should have been studying and vetting and things like that. I think when you do a good job at that, then it becomes more unconditional, because it's almost like you're not doing it for anything in return. It's almost like a service. And I think, that's what, love and family is. It's being of service to one another. And so when you're being of service to someone, I always learn, you don't tell the customer no. You may not have it, but you're not going to say no. Is there something else that I can get you? Is there something else? You know what I mean? So it's a mindset that you have to have, but I think that when you have vetted the person, that it will feel a little bit more unconditional than conditions, and this is, you know, I'm tired after this. It's making me sick. I'm not getting any sleep. Like you said, your wife sleeps good at night, so
Very
you know
good.
that's how you could tell that she already know that, you know, she's good with you and you're good with her. So who didn't go on this one?
But let me just say one more thing. That one thing also is biblical.
Yeah,
That's the one. That's one of the one. I mean, I'm not a big Bible thumper, but that's the one thing, one transgression that you would get grace from God.
yeah. You
know, it's in there.
He put some things in. He put some things in there.
Thank you.
So it's not so. And honestly, so that's not even really a condition that you set. So really, you know, that is not a condition that we should consider as far as a human fleshly condition, which means that our love is unconditional. You know what I mean? So good point, because that's not a condition that you said.
No, I didn't.
However, it is a condition that you're going to follow, because it is a condition that has been put in place for that exact reason. So, you know, I get it. Alrighty. So I appreciate those who have sent me super chats. Cash apps. I appreciate you guys. I've gotten a few. I wanted to read some of the comments here. The Wife School podcast says, I tell you, these panels are definitely void of agape content. I thought that was funny. What it says, it don't make sense now, are paying to break up.
Well, yes, we both use our canes to go have an affair.
No, 37 is an accomplishment. 37 is an accomplishment. You just don't see that in today's society. Like my parents would be 33 years, I think, in August. So, you know, when someone say they've been married, you know, for that long, it's like people need to wake up and realize that it is possible, but you have to be able to know and study your people. You're not just rushing into things. You're not just going off of some fairy tale because it feels good. You have to be able to be realistic about things. And like I said, women know. Somebody else put it in the chat. Women do know, but women have to wake up a little bit sooner so they don't, you know, there is no blame game. Like, you're not no victim. You're not a victim. You know, you're not a victim of your own decisions, but you do have to wake up every now and again. All right. So I do appreciate you guys. I don't think I see any more. I think that was it. I appreciate you guys who came through in the chat, the Wife School podcast. Some dude was here, Out the Mud. Cody was here, Tabiz TV. I appreciate you guys. Definitely check Lady Di and I out on Wednesdays. We missed last Wednesday. There were some health issues. Her babies were a little bit underneath the weather, as well as James. So she was, you know, doing her wifely duties and taking care of the kids, the husband, and you know, that's priority. So we're getting back to it this Wednesday at 7 p.m. So join us. I'll stream from my channel. She'll be streaming from her channel. So definitely join us on Wednesday. And then join me again back on Monday. I do want to, like I said, do these reactions on the Pop the Balloon show, because I have like a little bit of a guilty pleasure with that, because it's just interesting. Like my mind just goes different places when I see the different interactions. And then as a person who's just, you know, been in the world, you're dating, you know, you can kind of see how awkward sometimes the interaction is, and you can kind of picture yourself there like, oh, I remember when. And so I think doing reactions to those would be really good, because I mean, child, one girl walked in, everybody popped a balloon. I mean, that has to be a confidence. I mean, that has to be a downer. Like, you have to be super confident in yourself when you are in front of, what is it, about 6 or 7, 8 men, and pop, 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 pop down the line. It wasn't not a net piece of balloon hole up in there, okay? And then not only did they all pop the balloon, they all had to tell her why they popped the balloon. And so it just gets so interesting, and to see what people say on the spot. Some people are truly genuine. Some people are truly looking for what they're looking for. So definitely look out for those. I'm going to do reaction videos to those. I don't know if I'm going to post them on Instagram, YouTube, or another platform, but I definitely have a couple of videos saved, so I'm gonna do some of those reactions. But I appreciate you guys. We're gonna get into our final words. I appreciate you guys for joining the panel. All those who have watched, again, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I see a couple new people here today, so I appreciate you for being here. Aaron, Kasim, being new to the panel, you guys are welcome anytime. And tell some friends to come on over, and we all can have a conversation. Everyone can learn and broaden their perspectives and just hear what the men have to say. I have this panel for the men. You guys have your spaces where it's almost like you're going back and forth with women, and you're trying to you get tired of doing that. So this is somewhere you can come relax, talk about topics, but give it from your perspective in a respectful way, and we all can learn and expand our minds. So we're going to end with final words. We'll start with Kasim. We'll make our way over, go to Hank, and then Arpain will close us out.
I always say that men and women are better together, and the superpower within that dynamic is the communication and the respect. That is the foundation that's going to sustain all of the storms that the relationships come, right? And whatever can try to destroy that, don't let it just do that. Pay attention to one another, right? Know what each other's likes are, dislikes, know what pushes individuals' buttons and know what releases them, right? Because I believe as men, it's important for us to lead in that particular dynamic, to take the things that they say to us, use those things as part of our problem solving so that we can get better outcomes and more harmony, and she can add more peace to your life.
Thank you so much, Kasim. And again, I appreciate you. You're welcome here anytime. We're live on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, Sean, final thoughts?
Yeah. First off, welcome everybody. Thank you for having me, Precious. I think as I was speaking it and asked the question about love and its conditions, I still want to reiterate that love is unconditional, but relationships have conditions. And whether it's a marriage, that's the contract. And that's something that might help us all understand how to love better and how to plan these relationships better. Because all of the conditions that everybody was speaking about are fair. Some are very just. Payne, we know where he stands, but it's a very firm stance, and I can understand that. Even with Hank, we know where he stands. It's very firm, and I can understand that as well. And those are conditions about the relationships that they entered into. And that's kind of what I didn't realize, that we do have conditions, but again, I think those conditions are really designed about once we decide to get in a relationship. Because if we're not in a relationship, that's why I say love is unconditional, because we can see it pretty clearly when we're not in that type of relationship that is contractual or what do they call it? Interchangeable? No, not it. Where there's I don't know the word right now, and I'm not going to get it. But I'm now understand it differently, and that agape love is where I speak from. Is what I also learned tonight when when it was designed that way. When I speak on love, I see why it is sometimes confusing when I speak from that standpoint, because a lot of people think that I'm just loving and trying to romance everybody, all of my exes and all of that. Nah, when I take that word seriously, and when I love somebody, it's not a condition of who they want to love. It's not, but I'm not in a relationship with them no more, so I don't need to have any conditions. Go do what you want. Ain't gonna stop me from loving you because you're doing what you want, because I'm not in a relationship with you. I don't have a contract with you anymore. Our contract has been void and over. So that's what I learned tonight, just in having a conversation. So I thank y'all for bringing that to my attention through the conversation, and hopefully I can build on it further and kind of understand it better.
You out here giving them pleasure contracts, Sean? I'm just kidding. It's closing words.
It's funny. I actually think that a lot of women are offering pleasure contracts. And I'm actually not trying to, I want an actual real contract, but they want fun and pleasure and all of that. And I'm like, that's easy. I can give that to you by, like I said earlier, just tell you what you want to hear. And unfortunately, a lot of women are really accepting and embracing that. And so that's why I said it's so easy. All you gotta do is tell them what you want, because I get off of that. Yeah, we don't need to be in this. I don't want the responsibility that comes with the relationship. I just want all of the pleasures that come out of a relationship. And unfortunately, that's what I have been running across often out here in these streets, as Hank would say, with these heifers.
All right, all right. Well, I appreciate you, Sean, always. Thank you so much. Sean been rocking with me for a long time, so I appreciate you, sir. All right, Aaron, your final words, sir?
Yeah, I just want to validate Sean making the distinction with agape. I don't see any evidence to say that that's not unconditional, 100%. Universal love, yeah. So, yeah, I picked that up too. Shout out to Brother Hank and Heifers. That kills me every time somebody says that. Good to see you too, Arpane. And thank you, Ms. Precious, for providing a space where gentlemen can actually go and, a safe space to just be heard without so much contention and stuff, and I really hope and pray that you continue to see a more sophisticated and relaxed panel and chat. I'm sure you will. I'll just leave with gratitude, and the hopes and wishes for everybody on love and success and prosperity. We'll build this shit as it's taking off, but we're gonna grow and build as long as we keep attached to love.
Thank you. I received that. Receive that gratitude. That's a word right there, a prophetic word. We're gonna grow. Okay. All right. All right, Hank. How about you, sir? Thank you as always. Thank you so much for always being here. What are your final thoughts, sir?
Well, first things first, like again, all the other gentlemen said, thanks, Pressure, for having us on the panel, opening it up to us to better express ourselves and our perspective and all that good stuff. Fellas, I'm gonna tell y'all, negotiate the best contract deal that you can with the women that you are in a relationship with. Always push for the best deal, the best arrangements, and the best contract that you can, and just move from there. That's the most important thing I could probably share with you as far as that. But the thing I want to leave you guys with is, black man, please protect yourself at all times. That means you need to get on somebody's couch or somebody's Zoom meeting, get your mental right. Go out there and get you a full physical. Get your A1C check, your blood work check. Heart disease and diabetes is some of the most biggest killers among black men. So do what you got to do. And you fellas who are of a certain age, such as the men who are left on the panel, go get your colonoscopy and your prostate check. It's very important. Colon cancer is a motherfucker, man. I don't want to ever see nobody go through it. I watched my great grandfather go through it, and it was rough. So do what you got to do. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Hank. And I love that you always remind the men to do that. Sometimes, you need the reminders. And a lot of times men, y'all assuming, so y'all not going to go to the doctor. So it's that reminder. So it reminds me of the emails you get through work where they be like, check your emails and all your benefits and, get your physical in, so that's always that reminder that's needed. And I'm sure there's people that appreciate and really listen to that reminder and takes heed to that message. So I appreciate you for that. Arpane, final thoughts, sir, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for letting me up. Salute to the gentleman on the panel. Listen, I agree with Kasim when he talked about, men and women are better together. Civilizations have been built on people, men and women working together throughout the ages, made the United States great. And one of the things I think we need to recognize that there's a lot of forces fueled by the commercialism that's trying to keep us apart. Biological, with all that crazy stuff going on with the alphabet, right? The cultural difference, how ratchet the culture has become, and the environmental, a lot of the laws. And so imagine all of that pressure is required to keep us almost hating each other as men and women. That tells you that they have to apply all of that force because the natural inclination for us is to be together. Right? So in order to break that, they got to do all of these dastardly things. And a lot of times we miss the programming that we're under because it just seems like it's just a natural thing. But left to our own devices, we have no trouble being together. And I'll just leave you with this. When a man, if even in this modern time, and I always say, people tell me, I don't know what I'm talking about. If you want to be married and you find a woman who wants to be married, the rest of it is a negotiation between you two. That's it. So if you have to search for that, you need to search for that. Nobody said it was going to be easy, and it doesn't have to be. You just need to be able to recognize, if you're a man, you need to be able to recognize that woman when you see her. And if you're a woman, you need to be clear enough to recognize the man. I'll leave it there.
Ooh, some great closing words this evening. Also, big ups to Actual King Smith, my co-host. We've been doing this for a while, so I appreciate you, sir. He hasn't been feeling the best coming off of COVID, and he still made time to come up on the panel for a little bit and give us a little bit of his time and perspective. So thank you so much to Actual King Smith. Now go get some rest because you're gonna need your rest and your medicine. Have Michelle tuck you in real tight. All right. But definitely get some sleep, get some rest. But thank you again. My final words would be, I think I'm gonna take this opportunity to invite people to my church because I go to Change Church. But you can go right online. You go right online, Change Church, Darius Daniels. He is doing a series right now called Red Flags. And I think, there's a scripture that says that people perish because of lack of knowledge. And when you say that women know, but maybe they just really don't know certain things, or maybe they need to hear men like panels like this give their perspectives, or even, a series that a pastor preaches about red flags and what to look out for. And so he's doing a series right now. I don't know how long it's going to be, but it is a really good series. This Sunday past was about 3 toxic traits, and he's given 3 more toxic traits next Sunday. So, the resources and things are out there for you, and different, resources, because this ain't church. This is just YouTube. We come together, we give our perspectives and things like that. But we talked about peace earlier. And peace only come from God. I cannot get peace from man. Like, my mind don't even work like that. Like, I'm not looking towards a human being for peace because I don't think that peace will come from them. Will they add to my peace? Will they be a different, light of peace? Yes, but initially peace has to come from the higher being and who you believe in and who your soul is attached to. And so we're doing that series, but it actually gives a spiritual biblical background on what to actually look out for. what is written and what is actually happening in real life, and actually bringing the real life. That's what I love about my pastor. He real. He's just gonna give it to you real. It's not all this Bible thumping, and no, it's this is I'm telling you where I'm seeing it. I'm telling you where I'm finding it, and I'm relating it to real life so you can apply it to your life. So Change Church, Darius Daniels, YouTube him. Last Sunday was really good. But we have to find more peace. People have to find peace, men and women. You have to find peace, because if you don't have peace, you're not going to be able to dwell with someone. You're not going to be able to become one with somebody. And you could tell when somebody is not at peace because they're all over the place. They don't know what they want. They can't give you any concrete answers. They don't want commitment. Those people don't want peace. They just want to do many things to keep them busy so they can get their mind off the peace that they don't have. And so you have to train yourself to know that, okay, you're disturbing my peace because you're unstable. Or maybe you're the unstable one and you're like, I need peace. And so you have to go seek after those things. You can't wait for people to bring those things to you. You can't wait for somebody to change their life or change their mind, or you think you're going to change somebody. It's not going to work. You got to move on, but in moving on, you have to grow. So, next time that when you facing something like that, you're just not going to, you're not going to pay it any mind. You're not going to give it any energy. And so those would be my final thoughts. Oh, Sean, you sent the link.
Yeah, I was going to say I sent the link not only to us in a regular chat, but in the back chat as well, of the sermon she's referring to of Darius Daniels. I too follow Darius Daniels and adhere to everything that she just said. I also agree with her, and that's just one of the things. You know, for those who are in sports, he once had a, a series about relationships called Love and Basketball, which was really impactful. It was a 4 point series, so you can find those things as well. But I think he's definitely a pastor that is a teaching pastor, and I think teaches a lot.
I think we lost. I think we lost you, Sean.
I'm sorry, I got a phone call. But he teaches a lot of us. So I did just share the link. And Precious, you said something and you just said it a little, and I just want to reiterate it. Uh, your peace comes from the Lord. You said that earlier in this conversation, and that was profound. And I was like, wow, you're absolutely right. If in fact we can't surrender to embrace our peace from the Lord, we probably can't give peace to anyone else or find peace within anyone else, because the peace does come from the Lord. So I thank you for sharing that, and that was near and dear to my heart. So thank you. And I just came on back to say I shared the link with you. Just said
Thank
as well.
you. Thank you so much, because I didn't have the link, so I appreciate you. So yeah, find peace. Peace doesn't mean perfection. Peace just means you have calm through a storm. That's it. That's it, and that's all. You're not stressing. You're not, going haywire. You're not doing things, off of, impulses. You're able to be calm. You're able to be stable, even though everything around you is crazy and people are looking at you like, "How are you like this?" It's because I have peace, and that's something that it's not really something that you can describe. You just display it, and people will question you about it and wonder where it comes from. And it's up to them, to do what they got to do to obtain peace. You can't give nobody peace. Only God gives you peace. The peace He gives to you. All right, y'all. So we about to get out of here. I appreciate you. Definitely join us on Wednesday. Me and Lady Di, 7 p.m. Eastern. Back here Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Look out for my reaction videos to these popping balloons, because they are interesting. Okay, and they got my attention. They got my attention. So I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful evening and happy Tuesday.